All right, let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safer Liquid Beer Release podcast.
We ride again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
5 seconds remaining. 4, 3, 2, 1. It is all over. The Edmonton Oilers have won the Stanley Cup.
For the win. Draisaitl centers McDavid. Tips it home. Game over.
Curry gets it ahead to Gretzky. Gretzky going in. Sutter trying to get back. Gretzky with his nice score.
It's the 6 o'clock and check-in. Come on, let's go.
And he scores. Leon Draisaitl.
It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
And there it is. Zach Hyman.
Static EAM radio.
It's the Cool Ben Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go.
The Oilers pouring it on. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Smith from behind the net, a wraparound. Horton scores! Horton scores! Edmonton wins!
Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
on the fly.
And those Macramalla intros are cutting like a knife.
That is an absolutely pitifully bad call.
Hey, it's Mitch texting in. He's your dealer for life.
It is Marchand scores!
The stuck at 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
McDavid. Beautiful move. In on the box. What can you say?
Gretzky to Curry. Scores!
Here they come, the Oilers. It's dropped back for Bookberger. Shoots, scores! Bookberger! The Oilers win it!
The Oilers have won the Stanley Cup.
Good morning to you, live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios, Edmonton Sports Talk, the Nielson Show on the air. Lieutenant Eric, Jason Milne in with you this morning. Dustin Nielsen away, calling the WHL Championship, in which the Moose Jaw Warriors are now 3-0 up on the Portland Winterhawks following a big overtime win last night down in the Jaw. You can text anytime. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. The nasty chat is humming. We got YouTube Trev behind the monitors doing everything this morning audio-wise. So if you got any complaints, you can let him know. If you want to let him know he's doing a good job, you can also let him know as well. 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. And hit those likes. Do it for YouTube Trev. It's on YouTube. We're on YouTube. We're on the iHeart app. We're on the TuneIn Radio app. But if you are watching this morning, even if you aren't watching, if your usual diet of consuming EST is just the streaming, just the audio, pop over to the YouTube, give us a sub, hit the like, do it for YouTube Trev. He's doing it all this morning. The goal songs, the conches, the 6 o'clocker check-in. He's got it all behind the monitors this morning because, again, as we know, Jason Milne, Dustin's taking all the equipment. We would love to be doing a goal song bonanza. Sailor wants a little Mr. Vane coming from the old shop. Unfortunately, we won't be doing that. We want the show to be able to be archived and, all our friends in Russia to be able to listen as we don't want to be blocked out or blacked out by anybody. But good morning to you, and what a morning it is. And what a night it was, and we will get into breaking down the Oilers' big win over the Canucks. A must-win, as Jason Milne and I said on Monday, coming in following the Sunday game, 3-2 your final. We'll obviously, as I mentioned, take a deeper dive into this puppy and how the tables have turned now. The Canucks going back home, a must-win for them as the series turns into a best-of-3. So we'll have more on that. Obviously, a big deep dive into last night's game during the opening hour. We're just going to expand that morning after show because we know you want it today. 780-218-9999 if you want any thoughts on last night's game, getting them in. We'll discuss during the hour. We do have some guests as well who'll be breaking down last night's game and going other places in the sporting world. Jamie McLennan of TSN at around 7:05. Obviously, the goaltending last night was, the topic of discussion throughout the day leading to puck drop. So we'll get his thoughts on the play of Pickard, Sheloff standing tall again on the opposite side, and more from the Stanley Cup playoffs. A Cool But Canada hotline of the day around 7:20. Free advice, courtesy Damon Bunting. That's on the way around 7:30. Legal analyst Eric Macramalla will join us, as he does every Wednesday, at around 7:40. to take a trip around some of the other stories dotting the sports landscape. Kind of easy trivia for Mr. Mike's 3 questions too many for Park Mazda. That's coming up just after 8. A weekly rankings of power brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, a special edition as well, courtesy Jason Milne this morning. So be prepared for that. After that, it's a lot of work. We're going to get a little bit of an appetite going on. A few of those chicken cutlets left over from the Italian Center. We'll be heating some of those up. YouTube Trev will be taking his first dive into the cutlet game from the Italian Center shop. So we look forward to that. And ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, who was getting into the Star Wars a bit on Twitter last night, I saw with the Oilers Canucks game. He'll round out the show guest-wise. So again, a busy show. Wednesday is usually getting pretty busy around here. You throw in a game 4 of the Stanley Cup playoffs between the Oilers and Canucks, and it just adds to the mayhem. So 780-218-9999. It's the Paris Jewelers inbox. Family-owned and operated, 22 stores, 4 provinces across Canada. Large, high-quality selection of engagement rings, including lab-created, and great prices. You got the Star Wars and Marvel wedding bands. Greg Wyshynski might be interested in those. You can shop in-store or online, www.parisjewelers.com. And as I mentioned, the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio, always hot in here, and it's hot in there. You can get the crispy chicken buffalo wrap today. Consists of 2 classic hand-battered and breaded mild chicken tenders, bold buffalo sauce, paired with fresh lettuce, tomato, and milder spicy mayo, wrapped in a soft flour tortilla. Jason Milne, good morning to you. You're feeling good. What's the, when we last talked Monday, it was must-win, caps lock. The temperature was high. Following last night, the drama that ended last night's game, where you come out on that one, what are you feeling? Let's get a vibe check.
It was a must-win. We said that on Monday. We both harped on the same topic, physical play. Mm-hmm. The Oilers brought a much more physical game last night, which, I mean, ultimately, if you want to look at it very, very distinctly, that led to the game-winning goal by Bouchard. Kane comes in, makes a massive hit in the corner, creates a turnover, and next thing you know, the puck's in the back of the net. So the physical play started early. I thought it was a much better start. Mm-hmm. Then in game 3, the Oilers came out with a physical mentality, and they played a much stronger defensive game as well. I saw a stat that was the first time in 10 periods that Vancouver registered less than 5 shots on goal in the first period. So in the second period, I think they were in the first and second they were held to 13 shots. So a much more defensive effort, and we figured that might happen, giving that what are we calling him? CP, Pixie?
CP. Old,
I know Gager was calling him CP.
Nicknames for Picker this morning. If you don't already have one, I mean, why not get him in? Let's get a little creative. This is when the ideas and the juices are flowing for most of you nasties in the 6 o'clock hour. So 780-218-9999. Probably get you. I mean, look, if you hit us with a real good Picker nickname, you could be getting that text today to A&W. Of course, they got the cold brew and iced lattes going on right now, and ice little pick me up year round. So yeah, Picker nicknames. You're going CP,
I don't like it.
It's like Canadian press.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but
we can do better.
I heard Gager allude to it last night. So.
Okay. YouTube Trev, do you have any thoughts on the nickname or the game otherwise?
I think in the locker room, the boys call him Picks.
Picks.
That's the name, which is just throw an S.
That could be his locker room handle. I'm fine with that. I think we can, as a nasty conglomerate, though, there's got to be a little more something.
Yeah, you can definitely be more creative with that. But,
how about his folks, too? I'm sure they'd have a nickname, probably a couple for him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
His dad
you
and
love
his
to see
foul
it.
mouth. Nasty Chat's buzzing. Once again, hit those likes. If you're not going to do it for me, do it for YouTube Trev, for crying out loud. It's YouTube. That's where he makes his money. That's the place where he resides, right? Like, this is you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do it for Trev. He knows the algorithm. He knows the score. He knows the importance of the likes and the subs. 8.18K subscribers. So let's juice that number up this morning and hit those likes as well. The Oilers win. Everybody's happy. Going to be a beautiful day. And hey, nice to see Corey Perry as well announce himself in the game with the old stick hold. Hey, and that's some.
Did he do something?
I know. Well, he held the stick. It was gamesmanship. It was something that. In hockey, we always talk about showing off the personality, and I think Corey Perry there holding his stick up to, and I forget who was the Canucks
I think
player.
it was
Besser, yeah, holding it up to his face there.
It's just nice to see a glimpse into the Corey Perry that Oilers fans hated with such disdain.
This is the worm, baby. Capital W, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that, two-handed, you shall not pass.
It was
kind of attitude from Corey Perry.
To get to player answer these questions 3, hey? And he's got the stick, and you got to kind of answer the riddles there. And it just kind of, he stood there. It's one of those things where you kind of do it and you put it in, but he stood there for that extra 2 or 3 seconds, which made it look absolutely awkward, right?
And then the stare down right after,
yeah.
the stick dropped, but the stare down did not. I thought it was great. I thought it was classic Corey Perry. I had that in my notes, that playoff Corey Perry is back, because that was just...
He's here.
Oh,
He's here
great.
now. It took a little while, but he's announced himself. And look, for the price point, when you're getting that, it's pretty good. Pickles, that word flies in unsigned to the Paris Jewelers inbox, and I think Tube Socks as well in the nasty chat saying I assumed it was Pickles. Christian Ox says CP30. Is that what they're going with too, with the Star Wars theme as well? Was that a Wyshynski idea? Who knows? We'll
That's
ask
not bad.
his take on that too. It's okay. Hey, I think we're getting there. We'll get there by the end of the show. Buck Walter says the door. Hold the door. Is that related to Corey Perry and the stick? I don't know. It is Wednesday as well. Throw Mama from the train. I know.
Unfortunately, we don't have those.
No,
ones.
you don't have the soundboard, and we don't need to be doing that today. But if you want to get in your Wednesdays, if you want to send in some quotes from Throw Mama from a Train, we'll read them. I guess that's the closest we'll get today to giving you your Wednesday.
I just want to welcome first time, long time, Jesse Marshall to the Nasty Chat. Jesse's been listening to Dusty since 2010, and it just so happens that he comes on this show this morning and he wonders, wow, Dustin's sure changed in appearance.
Dusty looks really good these days.
Well, yeah, we've changed places and we've changed appearances as well, but still a great haircut. Dustin always has the good haircuts, and that's
Dustin never combs his hair. Come on. We know that. He's a hat guy.
matted down, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, the guy, he's a busy dude. So, Jesse, smash that thumbs up. Subscribe, right? That's the key to victory around here. And if not for us, do it for YouTube, Trev. Do it for YTT.
That's the only thing this
Really
morning. He's
appreciate
doing
that,
all the
guys.
music. He's got all the faders going. He's got a big job at him today. And he's got YouTube in his name. So if you're going to like it and sub for anybody,
I mean, why not?
it's YTT. And yes, good to see Jesse. First time, long time since 2010.
Captain Picard.
Love to see you. I've that again. Keeping
it's
with the
Captain
space
Pickard?
theme. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I mean, it doesn't really have the same. Yeah.
Or is it this? I don't know which one.
No,
it
that's
is.
something totally
is this something
different.
different. Does it? No.
Yeah.
Am I doing it right? Where's Zach when you need him, hey? 780-218-9999. Jean-Luc comes in from Troy. I do believe that's the Godfather. We're getting there. We're on a roll here. And
You know
that's
what?
I like.
We're figuring it out.
Yeah, and it's look, it's a celebratory morning. I mean, we're riding with picks now, hey? CP30, Captain Jean-Luc. Hey, this is it now. No?
I don't mind picks. I don't mind Hobbs. You know, Calvin and Hobbs. Do you even know who that is, YTT?
No, I don't.
Say comic. It's a comic.
Comic?
It's a comic book back when you used to read comic books, I guess. Calvin and Hobbs. Here's how you'll know it. You know when you're following a truck and it's got the picture of a cartoon peeing.
Where is this going? Oh yeah.
So it's like a Ford truck, say, and you're following it, and it's got a picture of a cartoon peeing on a Dodge Ram.
Yeah, I've seen this.
That's Calvin.
This is familiar. Yeah.
And Hobbs is his make-believe friend in the cartoon.
In fact, I should say that if any of you have those stickers out there on your vehicles, a simple cutout of a picture of Calvin Pickard, or at least the face, smack dab on the original Calvin would be something that Oilers fans could get behind, I think. Eh?
Speaking of stickers.
Ceremony. You got the decal. Plop it on there, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to wait for the first goal song. I'm going to wait. I'm going to do it during that to commemorate the EST sticker on said laptop. I think, Eric, given that if I'm ever filling in, I'm going to sit on this side. So I'm going to do it something like this.
If that looks the best, then you do whatever looks best. We do have 3 big goal songs, platinum sellers here on the Nielson Show, and they're for sport ball. YouTube Trev, what do you say? You want to get into one here?
Yeah, right now?
Dealer's choice, buddy. You pick out of
Okay.
the three, whichever one you
Sounds
feel would
good.
be
Here,
good.
let me get the
Once again, they're for sport ball.
sport ball graphic.
You want the best possible way to get your kids started in sports? It's Sport Ball. Your kid will have a smile on their face as they learn multiple sports. Visit www.sportball.ca for more info on all the sports programs they offer. Spring registration now open. Awesome camps, kids ages 7 to 14 years old, basketball, golf, football, volleyball, and even a gaming camp. And it says here in brackets, shocking how fun it was to run. So a little inside information there on the gaming camps offered by Sportball. But check them out, www.sportball. They are the provider of the goal songs. And finally, with an Oilers win last night, we are back into the goal songs. And as mentioned, some real big ones for you today. Of course, Leon Draisaitl is 8th of the postseason. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with his 2nd to stretch the Oilers' lead last night to 2-0 heading into the 3rd. Of course, the Canucks would mount a bit of a comeback, tying things up late with a Dakota Joshua goal. Evan Bouchard, though, with his 4th of the playoffs, sealing the deal with under a minute left last night down at Ice District. So as mentioned, Evan Bouchard, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Leon Draisaitl, the goal scorers. And we'll get into the goal songs peppered liberally as the show rolls on, but let's hit him right now. I don't know what YouTube Trev's got in store for song number 1, but hit it. Now you can put the sticker on the song. Also, do maybe the Riverhawks thing at 8, trivia and all that.
I don't know if it's coming through.
Is it not?
I'm getting it on here. No, it's not coming through.
Nothing's being said. This is a travesty.
No, nothing's coming through.
This is a travesty. Maybe we just dance. We can hear it. It's fine. You're all deaf. Well, you can do the Bouchard one because it's a file, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're not getting it.
All right.
We've got 20 seconds.
Cut it. Stop the
the
presses.
music.
Stop the presses. We were jamming out. You and I mean, we had the Draisaitl goal song blaring in here in the studios. And then YouTube Trev's like, I don't think anybody can. We're like, what are you talking about? We can hear it. That's not coming through because Dusty uses something else. We're not going to get too nerdy into it here. But no, you couldn't hear that because we weren't playing it through the proper channel. However, the most important goal song from last night, the most important goal scorer we do have and we can play. So, YouTube Trev, I know you're punking people here, and it was really funny. They're loving it in the nasty chat. Yeah, you know what you're doing here. Give them a like, hit the sub. Bouchard goal song.
I got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Draisaitl setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. As sure as new G is slick and Kane is tough. We're going all the way this year, enough is enough. And we can play 'em straight or we can play 'em rough. I'm feeling fine when I walk the line. You know I shoot that puck so very, very hard. The name on the back of my jersey says Bouchard. And we're gunning for first place, not a wild card. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. Well, we're counting on our skill and not on luck, and it's gonna get real when they drop that puck. And we won't be done until we hoist the cup. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. I got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysdale setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line.
Alrighty, that is the Evan Bouchard Walk the Line goal song. Dallas from Nelson, BC, on the guitar, on the vocals for that one. Great guy and kind of the border superstar of the series as he's residing in the BC interior for this one, cranking out his Oiler tunes, and we love him for that, and glad we could get that one over the line as Bouchard walks the line last night with the game winner. Of course, apologies to all you who wanted the Leon Draisaitl goal song and the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins goal song. Of course, Dustin Away taking half the equipment. YouTube Trev trying like Connor Brown. This text flies in. Travesty, more like Trevesty. And then he pretty lame Millhouse from Spruce Grove, Corey. Yeah. We know, and so, but we got the big goal song today, and that's really all that matters. Nasty chats pumping 780-218-9999. Norman of Combine's talking with you there, Jay, as well.
I was just checking on the Combine crew, seeing how they're doing.
I think Jimbo wanted to know as well the future of this series and Game 5 that'll go tomorrow, Vancouver. 8 o'clock puck drop is what the schedule says. Do the math. We're probably looking like quarter after 8:20 or something like that. It's just my kingdom for a 6 o'clocker here, or even I'll take a 7 at this point. Anything such as that. But yeah, this series trucks on.
7:30 is even better. But I mean,
7:30 is better. But even that, it was like after 7:30, and you go down the thing. And
well, it's funny, right?
This
game says 7:30 on any network, on any television station, on any. On your phone, on the score, or whatever. But it starts. The puck doesn't drop till 7:52. What's this all about?
This ain't baseball, Jay. We don't go down to the minute. It's a rounded. In the 8 o'clock hour, we'll drop the puck sometime.
Is this just one of those things that every playoffs gets brought up and people are pissed off about it? Or I know I'm obviously late to this beef, but it's just so it's one of these things.
It's
right?
the seeding. You're playing within the division, so it's all kind of as you, aside from, even if you are playing the Flames and everything, because it dictates the schedule. That's why the Predators would have at least gotten past the Canucks. You may be looking at a 6 o'clock here or there. And those Americans love their matinees. So you'd be, having some sort of afternoon, 11 o'clock a.m. puck drop or something.
But like, you can start the game at 7 and then have the puck drop at 7:4,
9
42.
Eastern. 9 Eastern.
Right.
Yeah.
But
after midnight last night is when people are watching Bouchard.
It just doesn't make sense
out east.
It doesn't make sense. But
yeah, that's the NHL, baby. Gotta love it. Speaking of times, though, and again, I mentioned baseball, and they're always starting on time. Blue Jays and Orioles rained out last night. They will round out. That game's been rescheduled for July, I do believe. So they'll conclude that mini 2-game set now. Later this morning out in Baltimore, weather permitting. And over to the NBA last night as well. Playoffs continuing. I think Jason Milne will have more on this in his sports update. So we will take a bit of a break. As mentioned, this whole hour dedicated to the morning after show, and we'll take a deeper dive into the Oilers' big Game 4 win last night. The cojones on Chris Knobloch. Hey, the Pickard. I mean, you make a decision like that, it doesn't turn out right. You're an idiot. Turns out proper, and you're a genius. So the balls on Mr. Knobloch on Double K there. I mean, just outstanding to go with Pickard last night, right? Nobody was saying it. He was going against the grain.
Sports are amazing, right? I mean, you said it best. If the Oilers lose that game, even if they lost, obviously Vancouver tied it up late. Let's say they're on the other end of that and Vancouver wins 3-2. Even though Pickard really played great.
Did great.
The only 2 goals that were scored on him were redirections
Pinball
right
machines,
in front
yeah.
of the net. Like, he did not get beat. He did not physically get beat by a shot or get, out positioned, to say. But that question would have been the number one topic. Wow, should have they went with Skinner? Should have they went with Pickard? The Oilers win 3-2 on a late effort goal. I'll give them credit for that. That game was hanging in the balance with under a minute left. We need to remember that. I mean, it's great.
What?
Oilers win. Everybody's happy. It was the right move. But Chris Knoblauch
it's a turning point.
was 1 minute away from this being a really bad choice.
This is one of those games and one of those moments, too, that, again, the camera's on Pickard's parents there, and the dad drops the big F-bomb on the tire. We had a sister on Twitter lighting things up yesterday as well.
That was great.
This whole mood and this whole storyline develops due to Knoblauch going with him. Now, we had a poll yesterday. I think people were more vocal with Pickard starting as opposed to Skinner. I think there were a few people maybe wanting Skinner to go, but not so much vocal about it or beating their breast about it. And that's fine, but they went with Pickard. That was the choice. And you mentioned, I mean, things can go either way. If they don't go good last night, I mean, again, it's not an elimination game, so we kind of went over the scenarios of the pros of starting Pickard. But you could see last night as a bit of a turning point, not just in the series, but perhaps the Oilers for a Stanley Cup run here. And going with a guy, again, going away from the hometown guy, it's Stewie Skins. We got the nicknames. He's got the celebration with Desharnais, all those good things that the fan base has come to love. But Stanley Cup playoffs, personalities and emotions aside, you go with the hot hand and who's going to get you in the best possible chance to steal a game or get a game or win a series. And last night, I mean, as you mentioned, those 2 goals on Pickard, can't really fault him for that. And I thought also not necessarily coming up with your flashy highlight reel saves at times, but standing tall in moments. And I think people were asking for average goaltending or just slightly above. Not asking too much, I don't think. And you got it last night. Save percentage 905. I didn't see any 7s in that 3-digit number, so it's a good thing. So perhaps last night, again, we said could have went 2 ways. It went the good way. But how far is this going to go now, and how does this blossom and kind of fill the team with a little confidence, and especially the ending of the game as well? Vancouver gets the goal. You're going, wow, now what? You rest on your heels. You go to overtime. The grips on the sticks are tighter. The building's got a lot of, tense emotion. But I think even Pickard mentioned it in his postgame about the team not wanting it to go. You go out and get the win. They went out and got the win in that final minute. So huge, kind of feel an emotional shift, both with starting Pickard, him getting the win, and then the nature of the win late.
Well, and that's it. Emotions are everything in the playoffs, and particularly after a win like that, where I mean, the puck could have bounced any which way. But we talked about it on Monday, and I still want to see more from that from the Oilers. Is pucks on net, man, pucks on net.
Yeah.
That's like the number one. You're talking coach is talking in the locker room, and in between the first and second, pucks on net, boys, pucks on net, lady. Let's go. Nobody was shooting. Everybody was trying to make the perfect pass, set up the perfect play. I mean, albeit it obviously it worked last night, but how did Vancouver score their goals? Pressure, repeated by pucks on net.
Yeah.
Both those goals, I think Barry in the Paris Jewelers inbox hit us up at 218-9999. Nurse had 2 own goals, essentially, because both those goals went in off Nurse. Now, is that positionally is that on Nurse YTT, or do you think, that's just bad luck?
Yeah, I think
it happened twice.
Just a little bit of bad luck, and now it's and it also happened in Game 1 of the Kings series. So he's now got.
He's no
3.
stranger to bad luck, is he? I mean, it just follows him like a
Can we
cloak.
say that this is potentially not bad luck, and that this is maybe bad positioning?
That might be the case. It's funny that it's Nurse that this is happening to.
Of course it is.
It's not splitting up against any of the guys.
The only player
Nurse.
that it would be worse on would be Cece.
Yeah, that's fair. He's got Nurse, the second tallest. He's got big feet though, so maybe that a little bit plays into it.
You know what they say about guys with big feet?
Big skates.
Socks. Massive socks.
Huge toenails, I would assume, too. Strummy's taking a victory lap in the nasty chat. Holloway elevated, and Nurse and Cece broken up. Broken up by his fans have been asking for this since game 1 of the series. It's almost like we know what we're talking about. So, yeah, nice to see Holloway as well get a little jump in there last night. I think as well the Soucy suspension with Noah Juleson pinching up, too, and making that play that allowed Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And, I mean, there's another one, too, with the Soucy one game where he said, oh, well, whatever, same size, Juleson's going to be... He makes that bite on Ekholm, and that allows the Oilers. It's those fine margins and moments in these tight games that dictate a game or maybe even a series. So the Soucy suspension looming large last night is Noah Juleson getting a little too anxious, a little too horny, jumping up and taking one on Ekholm there. But Oilers connecting with the man advantage as well, 1 for 2. And sparkling on the PK, holding the Canucks 0 for 3. We'll be back with more of this game. Sports update first, courtesy Green Plan from Jason Milne. Get your thoughts in. Where do you want us to go with this one? What are you feeling? Like Strummy, take a victory lap if you must. 780-218-9999. Or in the nasty chat, come hard for that A&W $20. More of the morning after show coming up, leading up to Jamie McLennan just after the top of the hour. But first, the sports update from Jason Milne.
The Bushbaum delivers as Evan Bouchard scores the game-winning goal with only 39 seconds left in the third period, which helped secure the 3-2 victory for the Oilers. Calvin Pickard stopped 19 of 21 shots in the victory and has officially started a full-fledged goalie controversy in Oil Country. Or maybe not. We'll talk about it. Game 5 goes Thursday from Vancouver. In the Eastern Conference, Jeremy Swayman stopped 28 of 29 as the Bruins defeat the Panthers. Game 6 will go Friday from Boston. One game on tap tonight as the Stars host the Avalanche in Game 5. Dallas leads that series 3-1. NBA action saw the Knicks take a 3-2 series lead as they edge out the Pacers 121-19. And in one of the best second-round matchups going, the Nuggets take their third win in a row as they defeat the Timberwolves 112-97. And in the PWHL, Boston defeats Montreal 3-2 in overtime and secures a spot in the finals where they will face Minnesota or Toronto. In the World Hockey Championships, John Tavares scores in overtime and rescues Canada from a major upset against Austria. That being said, Team Canada sits atop Group A with 2 wins and 1 overtime win. This sports update has been brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Green Plan. Visit greenplan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
You're listening to The Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube. Give us a sub and a like if you are watching on YouTube. 12 degrees for today, 16 for a high this afternoon. Could get some showers as well mixed in throughout the day. I think it was spitting a bit on the way in, so we'll take it. A little bit of wet, a little bit of dry, and temperatures warming up. So that's your forecast for today as we truck on through the opening hour of the Nielson Show. Once again, Dustin Nielson on assignment down in Moose Jaw, calling the Warriors Winterhawks WHL Championship, to which last night down in the Jaw, the Warriors taking a stranglehold on the series. They win it in overtime. And once again, Dustin Nielson had the call. The Warriors will look for the complete sweep tomorrow night back at the hangar down in Moose Jaw. 4-3, Braden Sherman, your winner at 2:20 of overtime last night. Lieutenant Eric with you, Jason Milne, and YouTube Trev behind the monitors. This is your morning after show in which we'll be breaking down the Oilers' must-win game last night. They left it till late, but it doesn't matter. They're taking a 2-all series back to Vancouver for Game 5 tomorrow night in the morning after show, brought to you by EM Utility Locating.com. You can visit them online or give them a call, 780-222-9497. GPR and concrete scanning, damage prevention, planning, design, education, and training, all there for you. And as Dustin Nielsen likes to say, and we don't have the shirts printed just yet, but emutilitylocating.com. Don't kill yourself. Right, and then he stops and lets it hang there, right? So, emutilitylocating.com. That's your morning after show. The big moment that happened in last night's game, Jason. I don't know if you have to go too far.
You scared me.
Is it the
Stop
dying?
that.
You can play along too, Trev, if you want to get involved with this. But the big moment, boys, I think that's all pretty elementary here, and it'd have to be the Evan Bouchard game winner unless you have something else.
Of course. I think it has to be killing off that double minor, that 4-minute penalty. Coming into the Game 3, the Vancouver Canucks had scored 0 power play goals. In Game 3, the dam bust open, and they scored 2 of 4.
It's been heating up.
Last night, 0 for 4. Right? They went. So kudos to the Oilers' power penalty kill, and especially that double minor. During that penalty kill, it seemed like there was a lot more excitement on the Oilers bench, a lot more. It was almost like a miniature team building event for them to come out of that successfully, keeping Vancouver off the board. I thought that was a huge momentum shift in the game, and obviously, yes, the Bouchard goal at the end of the game.
It's the obvious, but I like where you're going here.
This was a little bit of a catalyst for maybe particularly some of those bottom 6 players that needed some time on the ice. I mean, I was looking at the stats. And I mean, you've got McLeod with 3 or 4 hits. You've got Derek Ryan with 4 hits, where those were zeros in Game 3. So obviously, the message came across right from this desk. You heard it here first. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Knobloch's listening to both of us because we said ramp up the intensity, ramp up the physical play. And I'm just glad it got through.
Well, Kane was running a bit too, and he was laying some nasty hits. And Strummy chimes in the nasty chat once again. Kane hit created the turnover for the Bouch bomb, quite right there. No, he was buzzing, and he's a guy too that, in these X Factor games and these needing an answer, the pendulum swinging back to you, who's going to bat it back the other way. And I think Kane was involved in a lot of that last night. Trev, do you have any other areas you'd like to go for a big moment outside of course, the Bouchard winner and the Corey Perry worm stick incident there, where he held it in front of Besser's face?
Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed Ryan Nugent-Hopkins getting on the score sheet with that goal because he hadn't scored since Game 1 in the LA series. A lot of people were talking about him and him just, the lack thereof, I guess. And so for me, I thought that was huge. And it was huge because you look at, there was 2 2-on-1s that the Oilers had in the second period there. One was Leon Draisaitl coming down with probably the worst player you want, Cody Ceci.
Don't pass.
I don't know what he's doing. Like there's been several, that's happened, I think that's the second time in this playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, where Cody Ceci's the guy that's coming up. And the first time he completely missed the net. Like it went through the goalie and the crease, so not ideal. And this was, you got Leon Draisaitl's just a perennial 50-goal scorer. Just he can light the lamp. He really can. And he decides to try and give it to Ceci. It doesn't quite work. So in that play in particular, one, it does a few things. Nuge gets off the score sheet, or gets on the score sheet. But it helps him out so much. Yeah. And I love that play because you look to the left. You don't have Cody Ceci. You got Connor McDavid. He's already coming down on a 2-on-1 with Connor McDavid. It's a timely goal as well. But, it's great for Nuge's confidence because, a lot of, I'm sure he's man, I got to start doing something here because he hadn't been doing much at all. So it was nice with, less than a minute as well. That was also very clutch. But he just ripped it. It was low blocker, that's Nuge, that's vintage Nuge. So I love that play. I thought that was awesome, and just to it goes to show he's like, no, it would be huge for me. It really would be. I need to. Oh yeah. I need it. This will be big if I can score this goal, and it was really nice to see that. And you look it's playoffs, right? Connor McDavid. He was the happiest guy ever that he scored after that goal. You see his face. And so I really love that play. But, Jay, that was huge what you had mentioned. And then obviously the Bouchard goal. which in itself was just so impressive because if it's anyone else out there, that's not happening. You see Draisaitl behind the net, and Bouchard has to shimmy shake to the center of the ice, right? If he doesn't do that, if it's Vinny Desharnais or Ceci, they're probably staying to the right side, right? But that opens up a lane, and that's that offensive game that Bouchard, he's probably one of the best as far as defenseman goes in the NHL. So it was just incredible seeing I pass through Draisaitl, and then just like the shot, the patience. You give Evan Bouchard that time of day, I honestly think he's probably the most. He has the hardest shot probably on the team. Yeah, he's probably the player you want taking that shot out of all of them, and that's like no discredit to Draisaitl or McDavid, but he's got the power and he's got the accuracy. So it was just those are two huge plays for sure.
Oh, from that spot in that moment, isn't that great to say for Oilers fans?
It's huge.
You're confident it's going
in. The puck on Bouchard's stick at that time. And good point on analyzing that, what you called a shimmy shake.
Yeah, not bad.
You got a shimmy shake in you?
You want...
I want to see your shimmy shake.
Ow. I see, that's why I don't play in the show.
They broke it down in the post-game show on Hockey Night in Canada where they said that was deliberately done to move that defenseman just a tad more, so that would screen Silovs and allow that puck to go in because he had no sight line on that.
I'm with you, too, with the Nugent Hopkins goal. I think, as you mentioned, we've been haranguing and not that he's part of the depth department, I guess you can say, but maybe quasi. Of course, the McDavid and Draisaitl split up last night. Nugent Hopkins finds himself where he did on the top line back there and reuniting that killer line that they had going. But the Noah Juleson pinch up to hitting Ekholm. I mean, that going back and Nugent Hopkins, second in the playoffs, you mentioned, Trev, it's been a long time coming. Him scoring in that moment to extend the lead to 2-0, where it was 1-0 through, the first was, I think the first, we mentioned the start, pretty good. Second period, Canucks were, finding things late, mid to late, kind of turning things on. But to score that goal, to head into the intermission again, now up 2. And I know the Canucks came back and tied things in late. But it kind of it was getting a little tight as the game went on. You kind of felt that extra goal let a little breath kind of come into the whole thing, especially before the period. And for Nugent Hopkins, it's good to get his second. I think for the Canucks, obviously Soucy out and Juleson making that mistake, it was an illustrative moment as well. And I think another thing too, boys, is that we're not talking about CP3O or picks or whatever you want to call them in any sort of fashion. I mean, it's much like a defensive back in football, Jay. It's I don't need to be singing your praises every game. I actually don't want you to be standing on your head and having to win games. You just got to go in there and do your job, and if we're not talking about you, mission accomplished.
Well, you'd liken it more to maybe an offensive lineman on the Elks.
Sure.
If nobody ever hears your name, knows who you are, knows what you're doing, that's a win. Because the only time you're talked about is when you're screwing up. Now, the only thing is Eric, you alluded to that. That was if we can start, picking away at this victory for the Oilers last night. I will say the way that they came out in the third period and the way that Vancouver took over the game, say 3 minutes into that third period for about a 10, 12-minute span, that's got to be concerning. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Are you resting on your laurels? Know that you're up 2-0 and in control. If so, that needs to be addressed, and that needs to be addressed right now, because that, even though Vancouver lost, they still can go back and look at that and say, "Hey, boys, we got them." When they scored that first goal, I saw them come together on the ice and celebrate that goal, and Zadorov was nodding his head as if saying, that's all we needed, boys, was that one goal. Now the tide has turned. Now the momentum is in our hands. That's concerning. Now, how do the Oilers adjust and make sure that doesn't happen? Because now, it's not like it was a 4-1 win, right? Where the Oilers continued their play, their dominating play into the third, got the third goal, then the game's over. Now that you let them back in, not only was it for that game last night important for the Canucks, but going forward, going home for Game 5, they know that they got in the Oilers' kitchen pretty aggressively during that third period.
I have time for that. I also have time for Artur Shilovs, who I think had another great game. And I don't think if he's not in net, I think the Oilers are maybe celebrating a little. I think you could probably start doing the wave a little earlier last night, to be honest with you. He had the game, and you're like, well, what's going to be the encore? And he showed up again. He's going to be a tough nut to crack. But I hear what you're saying. Coach Mike chimes in. Feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Why in the world is Vancouver getting all these flowers? How many shots on net are they averaging per game? They won a game v Nashville, getting 12. They are barely doing anything offensively. But I just and that's fine. But I just think that we've gone to the playoffs saying what's the greatest enemy to the Oilers, and sometimes it's themselves, and either failing to take chances or making mistakes or so on and so forth. And for the Canucks, I just feel like they set up and they don't try to beat you. They say try to beat us. And then they'll just take their chances when and if they come. And if they don't, they won't take them. But usually if they get some chances, they'll find a way to make the most of them. Whereas the Oilers, sometimes it's the antithesis of that. You'll have tons of shots, tons of looks and everything, and you just won't make those chances count. So I think Vancouver's been doing a good job of just identifying those moments and making them count, and taking a team high octane and high offense like the Oilers and kind of condensing this series down to these moments. 780-218-9999 is the number to chime in, or the nasty chat as well. Your 3 stars last night, just to kind of quickly go through the morning after show here, brought to you by EMUtilityLocating.com. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, number 1. Kelvin Pickard, number 2. And Connor Garland, your 3rd star of the evening. I'm going Draisaitl as my number 4. Boys, I don't know where you would like to go on this one, but I'm going Dry on the power play, 8th of the campaign, goal and an assist last night. We talked about depth, but we also talked about big dogs kind of answering the bell, and I thought he did last night.
I'm going CP90, Corey Perry.
Look at you.
I thought that was the Corey Perry, as I alluded to earlier in the show, that Oilers fans hated.
The worm.
Hated when he played for the Anaheim Ducks during that playoff run. It was just, was he, you've seen some things from him in this series that, okay, he's not putting numbers up on the score sheet, but at this point in his career, I don't think that's what the Oilers are expecting from him. What they are expecting was what happened, in Game 3 when Evander Kane got slammed into the bench by Zadorov, and he's holding everybody back because he sees that the referee's hands up, and he doesn't want, ultimately
just wasn't close enough to Fogle, but he had the rest of the bench. He was
right. Last night with the stare down, you shall not pass to Brock Besser, and then the eyes. I think
Gazdic said it on the broadcast a couple of times.
Yes, he did. To see that out of Corey Perry is just gives you goosebumps, because that's just something's in him, something's firing around in that body, and yes, you may not see the results on the score sheet, but that kind of chirpiness and that's just playoff hockey. It was nice to see. So CP90 is my 4th.
Well, we talked about yesterday, too, about gamesmanship and everything like that, and now Tocchet, post-game throwing 5 or 6 of his players under the bus now after going, like, this guy goes after the refs, he plays some games in the media, he talks this and that, and now he's throwing like 5 or 6 players under the bus, saying that they're not even ready for the playoffs. Trev, a 4th star from last night, that stand out for you?
Yeah, kind of a boring answer, but I'll also go with Draisaitl.
That's good.
It's a safe pick.
He showed up. How's that back, hey?
I'm actually... It's crazy because after it was game 1 that he got injured there? Yeah, so like
you're kind of thinking, here we go again.
Well, and just in the 3rd period there, like he was not skating like at all. His stride was just terrible. You could tell he was clearly in pain. And so going forward, I was like, you're gonna need him like close to 100% if you want to have a chance against the Canucks. But it's like that was you can't see anything. Like he's fine. He looks so good.
Jeffy chimes in. Vancouver controlled possession in the 3rd, but didn't generate much. Their 2 goals needed multiple lucky bounces. You like the Oilers to exert a bit more control, but the Canucks were lucky to tie. That's kind of what I'm saying. I replied they create their luck. It's kind of their identity right now. In my belief, and that can be a scary thing sometimes, especially in the playoffs when you're relying on certain moments as the difference between a win or a loss. Super stat of the night, boys. What are we looking at here? I mean, it's pretty easy again to go to Kelvin Pickard, but anything else jumping off the page for you numbers-wise? Of course, the special teams as advertised. Oilers 1 for 2 with the man advantage. You mentioned Jason holding this emerging Canucks, if you want to call it that, power play to 0-3. But are there any other numbers that stand out for you last night, Jason Milne?
I mean, it's got to be that penalty kill stat line. It has to be, because that is just something that the Canucks got rolling. They finally broke through in Game 3, and they scored on 2 or 3 of their chances. So for the Oilers to come out and shut them down and not allow one single power play goal, especially given that there was a 2-minute or a double minor, so a 4-minute. How could you not be excited about that? I mean, you could obviously talk about Pickard with 19 of 21 saves, a .905 save average. That's only the third time throughout this whole playoffs that an Oilers goalie has been over 900.
Don't say it.
900 a save percentage.
And they played who in the first round? The Kings?
Right. So 2 of them happened there. This is the first time this series the Oilers have had a 900 and above save percentage from one of their goaltenders.
Well, what's the saying? You don't care how you get them, you just get them, or something like that. Anyways, but I mean, it's you hate seeing those 7s, but you'll take what Pickard brought. I mean, again, it's nothing flashy. It's just doing the yeoman's work, in which he did last night. Trev, I know we got a little bit of post game we'll go to just ahead of Jamie McLennan here, but any thoughts on his super stat as well from last night?
Yeah, I actually was just able to look at one right now. So this is a little bit different. I'm just looking at Leon Draisaitl's 20 minutes and 47 seconds.
Oh,
this was
a nice number,
topic of conversation, like quite a bit. Was he was chugging along 2 games in a row at 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's not good, right? Knobloch came out and said we can't have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl logging those minutes, especially if they go further into the playoffs.
That's health too. He brought up.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't.
So I will say though, like it's. Connor and Leon, the first line power play unit, they're getting that full 2 minutes, and whether you get 3 penalties or power plays, like that's 6 minutes, and they're going to be out for those 6 minutes. And I just want to say they're not really skating a heck of a whole lot. It's just passing. So I will say that like that's huge. The numbers 10 minutes down, that's going to help significantly. So that's what I like to see. The numbers down for both 97 and 29.
Almost like, you don't want to say it, but an off night in terms of that. You get some power play time. You're looking at 20 minutes, and Doesn't Sign Text guy chimes in as well. Best numbers from last night are the Oil time on ice spread. And
Great point. It is nice to see that, and they needed that. Your bottom 6 guys were instead of getting 5.5 minutes, they were up to 7.5, 8, 9 minutes. Those mean a lot to taking the pressure off the top guys, which you alluded to, Trev. So I think it was a better coached game. A better game plan, and allowing, splitting up as you call it, Eric, the spine of the team down the center, and getting Draisaitl and McDavid off the same line, and elevating Nuge allowed, it evened that out. I mean, you're not having your guys play 25 or 24 or 25 minutes. That's huge. I mean, this is going to be a long series, clearly. So
it could be a long run. Like it's looking at the time. I mean, you want to do that for a game or a result in the regular season, but it's the sustainability of doing that. It's just not there.
Plumber Topher's in with his stat of the night. He says, here's a super stat. I went to buy 2 bottles of Birdie Booze at the first intermission. At 38 seconds left when we scored, the bottle was emptied.
Get those pictures of the blue rings around your lips here. I'd love to see them there, Plumber Topher. Yes, and some post-game as well. I do believe I'm looking at Bouchard and Pickard. They were sharing the podium last night. So we'll go to them courtesy YouTube Trev.
You're on the ice. Can you kind of take us through just, the first moments of tonight, your first playoff start, a long time coming?
Yeah, I was trying to channel my emotions as much as I could. Obviously, it's tough. It's a high-stake game. Obviously, a huge game for us. But I felt comfortable right from the get-go. We had great energy early. The crowd was into it. We played great all night. Obviously, they got a couple good bounces for them, but it didn't deflate us, and it was a huge goal at the end.
Evan, you guys give up a late one, and then you bounce back right away. That's your second huge goal of the series. Kind of take us through. I know you're a pretty calm guy, but how are you guys able to control that after such a devastating, at times seemed like a devastating goal against?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't ideal, giving up that second one and the third, but there wasn't much time to sulk and think about it. We had to go out and still finish the period. Great plays all around. Kaner putting it in, Halsey chipping in, and Leon making the great pass like he usually does.
Calvin, over here. This is your first playoff win. You made your NHL debut nearly 10 years ago. Can you kind of describe your emotions right now after winning your first playoff game?
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite sunk in yet. Obviously, it's a big win for us. Yeah, it's been a long time. Obviously, making my debut 10 years ago and not getting playoff action really much at either level. But it's an exciting opportunity for me. The guys played great in front of me, and now it's a best of three.
Evan, there was some mixing and matching with the defensive pairs tonight. What did you think of how your team played defensively and specifically as a group of defensemen?
Yeah, I thought it was great. When you can limit a team like Vancouver to 2 goals, you're doing a pretty good job. Obviously, we had the help of picks back there being rock solid for us, but when everyone chips in, everyone plays the way we can defensively, it's going to be a good night.
Cal, the team did fantastic on the penalty kill tonight. Just tell us about what you saw on those kills and the quality of chances you faced.
Yeah, our special teams were great. Penalty kill, obviously, with that the early kill, we didn't give them much, and then the double minor. It's a pressure point in the game, and we fed off the crowd, got a lot of clears, and I think they only got 1 shot on us. So that was a big kill for us at the right time, and looking to bring that kill in the next game.
Evan, you talked a lot about.
There you have it. Kelvin Pickard getting the win. His first playoff start last night, and Evan Bouchard as well with the game winner, and a lot of people clamoring in Paris Drewler's inbox. How is he not the 4th star? And look, that's fine. You can play along as well. If he's your 4th star last night, so be it. I think you could go up and down that lineup and pick a few players maybe that we didn't mention. Somebody also asking, when will Henrique be back? I feel like if we played how we did last night with him, it would have been a 4-2 final. Perhaps, maybe. But we'll await on that. No Henrique last night as well. But Draisaitl fully in and fully engaged. And I think that's something Oilers fans salivate over and love to see. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. I'm getting texts on my personal cell phone from Atif. I think he's texted in a speech, some sort of a... He says, my speech to the Oilers after Game 4, Atif. So we'll do something with this later on in the show. We will get to a little business, though, coming up. A sports update from Jason Milne. And on the other side, we'll be joined by TSN's Jamie McLennan, our hockey analyst on Wednesdays, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. We'll take a deeper dive into last night's game as well, and a couple other looks from the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that's all coming up in hour number 2. Once again, 780-218-9999 is the number to text. Get your texts in. If you feel like a funny guy or gal this morning, come hard after that A&W as well. $20 on the line for text of the day. We'll pick the best text, and we'll give you $20 to A&W. You can head off there and celebrate the big win today. Of course, A&W, you can shake up your coffee order with A&W's new iced cold brew and iced latte and ice little pick-me-up year-round. So $20 on the line, courtesy text of the day. A sports update for Jason Milne. Once again, TSN's Jamie McLennan on the other side of 7 o'clock. You are listening to The Nielson Show. Sans Dustin Nielson, Lieutenant Eric, Jason Milne, and YouTube Trev, Edmonton Sports Talk.
The Boosh Bomb delivered as Evan Bouchard scored the game-winning goal with only 39 seconds left in the third period, which secured the 3-2 victory for the Oilers. Calvin Pickard, CP30, stopped 19 of 21 shots in the victory and has officially started a goalie controversy in Oil Country, although maybe not. We'll have to debate. We'll ask McLennan about that one. Game 5 goes Thursday from Vancouver. In the Eastern Conference, Jeremy Swayman stopped 28 of 29 as the Bruins defeat the Panthers. Game 6 will go Friday from Boston. One game on tap for tonight as the Stars host the Avalanche in Game 5. Dallas leads that series 3-1. NBA action saw the Knicks take a 3-2 series lead as they edge out the Pacers 121-19. And in one of the best second-round matchups, the Nuggets take their 3rd win in a row as they defeat the Timberwolves 112-97. In the PWHL, Boston defeats Montreal 3-2 in overtime and secures a spot in the finals where they will face either Minnesota or Toronto. And in the World Hockey Championships, John Tavares scores in overtime and rescues Canada from a major upset against Austria. That being said, Canada still sits atop Group A with 2 wins and 1 overtime win. This sports update has been brought to you by the Sports Bar and Lounge at Century Casino on Fort Road. Your home for all the Oilers playoff action and Elks pre and post. Don't forget that. Don't miss a minute of the Cup run. Catch all the action at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.702, you are listening to The Nielson Show. Crystal clear, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube. Head on over to YouTube. If you are watching and you haven't already, hit the like, hit the sub. It's very easy. Doesn't cost you a dime. If you are listening to the show as you normally do, just pop on over to the YouTube. Doesn't take long, just a second. Hop in there, give the like, and leave. That's what I do with the Hangout every day. No, I'm joking, Maddie. I watch the full 2 hours as I do. But yes, and a nice pick on the country as well. If you are a lover of country music, the latest episode of the Achy Breaky podcast is up at Edmonton Sports Talk, to which I and Dustin Nielsen cover a 90s country banger. Latest episode is up there already. I do it for the money. Nice Canadian content. So Dustin Nielsen, of course, away, calling the WHL Championship. Moose Jaw Warriors victorious in overtime last night to take a 3-0 stranglehold over the Winterhawks. Game 4 in that series goes later tonight, so that could be wrapped up by the end of the night. But in the meantime, Lieutenant Eric in, Jason Milne as well, and YouTube Trev behind the monitors. We are now be joined by our TSN hockey analyst this morning, and he is Jamie McLennan, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Gear up for game day with Oilers Adidas jerseys with on-ice name and number sewing. Visit them today, Edmonton, at the corner of 128th Avenue and St. Albert Trail, or you can check them out online, peruse the store, browse proamsports.ca. And what did I tell you, everybody? You went down to Pro-Am yesterday, you got a new hat, you got a new jersey, you got a new look, and it's given the Oilers some fresh luck, I guess, moving forward in the series. Evening things at 2 last night. Game 5, of course, tomorrow night in Vancouver. But without any further ado, we welcome in Jamie McLennan this morning. Noodles, where are you at? What's the lowdown on you? Can you give us an update on your life as it stands at this very moment, 7:04 Wednesday morning?
Well, it was a late night because I worked Sports Center last night. So with the games out west, you obviously have to wait until everything's done, and then we do a bit of a hot zone and wait for the media to come in and the sound. And JT Miller was hard on himself and all of that. So you got to react to all of that, and then you tape. So you don't get out of the studio till 1:30, 2 o'clock type of thing, and
then you got to wind down too, right? Wind down afterwards.
Oh, exactly, because it was an exciting game, and I'm actually flying to Vancouver. I'm going to go to Game 5 tomorrow, so that should be fun. And honestly, I thought it was a great game. I thought the Oilers deserved to win, but sometimes when you outplay a team doesn't mean that you're going to win the game. And I guess for 59 minutes, it looked pretty good. And then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose because they allowed him back into the game. And then the big goal by Bouchard at the end. I can't imagine the electricity. It seemed like coming through the TV that the roof popped off of the building. So people that were in the building got to see something special. That was really cool last night.
Well, it's great talking to you guys because we talk to you once a week and so much can change. And I think in the regular season, that's one thing, but Stanley Cup playoffs is a different beast, as you know. And I mean, the goaltending in this series, obviously yesterday, the call that Knobloch made to go with Pickard turns out to be the right call. I just want to get your thoughts initially overall in this series on the goaltending and taking away nothing from Artur Shilovs on the other end, to which I think he's been keeping the Canucks in moments in games this series. But your thoughts on the whole goaltending circus thus far with Skinner exiting, the games he's played, Pickard's game last night, and the emergence of the young Artur Shilovs.
Well, okay, I'll just start quickly with Shilovs because I think he's given them an opportunity to stay in these games.
Yeah.
He's made a couple big saves. He's gotten some favorable bounces as well, where a couple times last night, the puck got caught underneath his right skate as opposed to maybe going through underneath the pad. But he made some big saves and he kept the score close. Shilovs has done exactly what they've asked him to do and more because he's kind of come out of nowhere with 9 regular season games, and I think he's got 6 playoff games now, maybe 7. So you're looking at a guy with 15, 16 games of NHL experience. And I know he played the World Championships and, he had some success there, but, it's a different animal playing in the second round of the playoffs. So he deserves full marks at 23 years old. The other side, I saw an interesting tweet. So I love analytics, but I'm also an eye test guy. So I played, so I rely on my instincts, and then I like to tie some analytics to it. Mike Kelly, who works for Sport Logic and works for the NHL Network, tweeted something out yesterday about goals saved above expectation of Stuart Skinner last season and this season. And it wasn't good. I mean, in this series alone, he's allowed way too many goals. There was negative in this series. He only had 2 games in the playoffs this year where he was a positive goal saved above expectation. So that's not good goaltending. The same thing last year. He only had 2 games in the first and the second round where he was positive. So you get a book on a guy who's got, we'll say, 20 games underneath his belt and going, oh, geez, you only got 4 good games or 4 games where it's a positive impact. You kind of know what you're going to expect from him. So you look at it, if all you're saying is if Pickard could give you league average, which is 903, if he can give you 903, the team looks pretty good. Because the other night when Skinner got pulled, the high danger chances was 24-10. They got goalied. Absolutely. Shots 45-18. So at some point, something's got to give. So you send a message not only to Stuart Skinner and say, we need more from you, but you also send a message to the team saying, we're going to put somebody else in there who's going to try and stop the puck. You guys just keep doing what you're doing. Now, that being said, I'm not just leaving it all at Stuart Skinner's skates because their first period stunk last game. And those egregious turnovers and loose play, that was not good enough. That wasn't playoff hockey. The Oilers just put their gear on and thought they were going to show up on home ice and win. And Vancouver came to play. And then Edmonton woke up the second and third, and the goaltender stole it. So lots going on, but it's a gutsy move, but it was the right move to go to Pickard. At some point, if the Oilers make it through this series, they might have to go back to Skinner. But right now, you give Pickard an opportunity to roll with it a couple games, just like Vancouver gave their third-string goaltender an opportunity to run with it. And I saw something last night on the broadcast. I know I'm getting long-winded, but Aiden Hill took over for Laurent Brossoit. Now, that was an injury, but he still came in, and it was kind of game 3's same type of situation, and took off and took Vegas to a cup. So you never know what's going to happen. But last night, instinct for Knobloch and really looking at the numbers, it was the right call. And also spreading out the lineup, breaking up McDavid and Draisaitl. You got everybody else more involved in the game, and it paid off.
Noodles, do you know where Morinville is?
Yes, I grew up in St. Albert. Right?
Okay, yeah, right. Morinville Steb is in on the Paris Jewelers inbox. Him and I are having a bit of a tiff here, okay? So I said I'd ask you to settle it right live on the air, so I want to hear it from your mouth. I was concerned with the middle part of that third period, say from the 17, 16-minute mark to about the 5-minute mark, when Vancouver clearly took control of that game. They dominated. They kept the puck in the Oilers' zone for long stretches. That, to me, anyways, even though they lost the game ultimately, I was saying earlier that gives Vancouver something to hold their hat on and say, hey, don't forget, we got right back in that game pretty quick. If it wasn't for that last-minute goal by Bouchard, they were right in the thick of things. Does that carry over, and is that a momentum builder for the Canucks, or is that something that, as Morinville Steb says, that's just playoff hockey, and good teams have to rise to those challenges when the pressure comes from Vancouver like it did last night?
Okay, I don't like being a neutral party, but I could make an argument for both sides. And here's what I'll say is if I'm Vancouver on the plane last night, I'm assuming they flew home, gained the hour, and slept in their own beds. That's what I would assume. You're sitting there looking at your game and going, didn't have our best the first couple periods, but we did claw back into the game. So there are, I wouldn't say moral victories, but there are victories where it's like, okay, we know we can push back. And Rick Tocchet called out basically about 6 of their players last night and said, we got passengers, we need more. So I'm sitting there thinking on the plane going, you know what? Doesn't matter what happens. We feel like we're in every game. That being said, I think the Oilers rose to the occasion, and they've been a team that have been really reactive. So they get out to the lead, and then all of a sudden you're trying to defend the lead. You could tell, like Vancouver really pushed. There was the one shift, I think they were caught out there for about 2 minutes, trapped in their own zone, forcing everything at the outside. Just basically it was a garage sale. But the Oilers, what I liked about their resilience, because the storyline so far in the playoffs has been Vancouver's resilience coming from behind. They did it against Nashville. They did it against the Oilers in Game 1. The Oilers were able to break that narrative last night. So that's something to hang on to as well. So I could see the argument on both sides. It just depends on individually. Like, again, I'm Vancouver. I'm on the plane last night. I know that I'm in the game, and I know I can push back at certain times. But what I liked about the Oilers, instead of just, dragging that puck around and waiting for overtime, they went on the offensive when they go, oh no, here we go. We're tied and we're going to head into overtime. And I thought Evander Kane did a great job on that forecheck. That's a different, because if he just circles away on that play, they exit the zone and we're in overtime. Instead, he goes, you know what? I'm going to get a lick on Hronek here, and I'm going to disrupt Zadorov with the puck. Like, he did a good job. So I could see that the Oilers, regardless of them being back on their heels, they found a way to be resilient in a pretty tough situation where that building, I would imagine, you could hear a pin drop after that second goal.
Well, and Noodles, that second goal, as you mentioned, kind of a deflator. And I think Pickard mentioned on the broadcast post-game complimenting Kane and the guys going out to win it after that, like getting the hit, but then going back and no, we don't want to sleepwalk into overtime or anything like that and have the intensity kind of ratchet up. They go up there, they win the game. Jamie McLennan, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us this morning, 7:13 Nielsen Show, Lieutenant Eric Jason Milne with you. I want to get your thoughts too, Noodles, on a couple other knob adjustments, I guess, last night from head coach Chris Knobloch. Of course, the goaltending call was the one we talked about during the day. The splitting up of McDavid and Draisaitl, we all kind of agreed on yesterday as well, heading through, that it's probably something they should do. That came to work. Holloway up in the second line. You mentioned Kane. I also want to get your thoughts on the blue line as well, with Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci getting a bit of a split up and some time away. Your thoughts on that as well, because I think everybody can talk about goaltending and Skinner, and we like to talk about depth and scoring. But a lot of the hardcores, I guess you can say, in this market have been banging on the door about the blue line for a long time coming. But your thoughts on the Nurse-Ceci partnership getting a bit separated, and if it's something we can expect moving forward, and maybe, just maybe, this would be a recipe to kind of kick on after last night's game.
It was the right play. I mean, both of those guys are getting caved in analytically and eye test. It just, and not everything. It'd be easy to go, you know what, it's their fault. But again, it's not their fault. Warren Fogle decides to make a soft pass through the middle and it jams everybody up. And they happen to be on the ice chasing it. So, yes, they have to own a lot of it, but so do the players in front of them. I like that you broke that pairing up. Now, is it a recipe for the rest of the playoffs? And the reason being is at least those guys have carried heavy minutes. Desharnais, higher up, sometimes I worry that he might get exposed, stuff like that. But I think it's a game-by-game situation, and it was the right call last night. Also giving Holloway a little peek up top there, or I would say closer to the top. He's a good skater. He's got skill. He can be physical. I think getting those guys more involved, because I was really critical. I didn't think Holloway, I still think McLeod has more. He's been very shy, which disappoints me, because to me, you're playing for keeps. And, 2 games ago, there was drive-bys by McLeod where he'd have an opportunity to hit somebody, and it's just, hey, I'm going to go in there on it felt like it was a Tuesday in November. I'm going to go dig the puck away instead of playing for keeps. So you get them more engaged. I thought there were some great adjustments, but yes, that pairing deserved to be broken up. I don't know how long it lasts, because at some point Ceci is a heavier guy who has experience. Desharnais still getting experience on the job. But that being said, it was the right move. Every button last night that Knobloch pushed, the goaltender change, separating McDavid and Draisaitl, and then he loaded him up a few times at critical times, but then also giving other players an opportunity to play. everything worked for them last night.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be in stone. The option's there. You can go back to it whenever you want, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. But Jason?
Well, this is always the conversation, especially at playoffs, matchups, changes, lineups, as we've been discussing for the last 3-4 games. But I mean, game 1, 5-4, game 2, 4-3, game 3, 4-3, last night 3-2. This is a tightly contested series. Do you see any more dramatic changes? I think from the Oilers' perspective, they kind of found the keys to the code there with breaking up their centers and pushing that further down the lineup, and like you said, elevating a guy like Holloway. From the Canucks' perspective, now that this series is evened up, I mean, obviously they're getting Soucy back from suspension, so that's going to help. But do you see anything changing, or are both teams kind of just going to keep going down this path because it's been working not too badly up till this point?
Well, I would say for Edmonton, the things that change is just you get guys that contribute and play with a little bit more confidence. I'd like to see more from Fogle. I'd like to see more from McLeod. Guys that had good seasons, but you need more from them in the playoffs. And I think that just comes with having a good night and continue to gain confidence. On Vancouver's side, I guess if I'm an Edmonton fan, what concerns me is a guy like Pettersson really hasn't entered, right?
Yeah.
Like, here's a 100-point guy. You can call him a superstar or a budding superstar, and he hasn't really been a massive factor. Besser's been there. JT Miller last night wore the loss and said, hey, that's all on me. So he's going to have a response. I think Lindholm's been worth the price of admission. He's been a really good player for them. Dakota Joshua is a handful. He's tough to handle. He factored in on both of those goals last night. Now, he got credit for the second goal. It goes off his left skate. But the first goal, he's in front while Garland shoots that puck. So I think concerning-wise, or where Rick Tocchet calls his team out and says, we got too many passengers. So on home ice, with the last change and been called out by your coach, Edmonton can't just roll into Vancouver and say, hey, we won last game, we're going to win this one. I would think, if anything, this is going to be their toughest game. And they've got to prepare for that because Vancouver's been called out and their coach is a pretty hardened coach, and he's going to make sure that he's going to be pressing every button. So there is going to be those adjustments. And now that you're down to a best of 3, you're playing for keeps.
Yeah.
So there's no messing around and not hurting feelings and all of that. It's about who's playing is going to get the ice time on both sides.
Yeah, Noodles, I think this series right now shaping up as a lot of us thought, tight scoring, 2-2, best of 3, as you said. And I mean, you're swapping must-win games each and every night now between the two, but that's what we like. We kept it Canada. We kept it in this series. It's what the people wanted. We thank you for your time, Noodles. We appreciate it. You're doing a bang-up job, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
There you have it. Jamie McLennan, TSN, local guy, knows where Morinville is. Recapping last night's Oilers 3-2 victory over the Vancouver Canucks. We appreciate his time, as always. Brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. You can gear up for game day. That's tomorrow again with Oilers Adidas jerseys, on-ice name and number sewing. Check them out today, corner of 128th Avenue, St. Albert Trail, or visit them online this morning. Comfort of your own home, proamsports.ca. And you pulling anything out from Noodles there in terms of, I mean, this is now setting up, best of 3. This is what we all kind of thought. You go out, both teams getting kind of the splitteroonie on the road, and a series isn't on until you lose on home ice. Well, now they both lost on home ice, so series officially on, right? You can hit the starter's gun. But yes, next game, much like last night, the Oilers needed that one. Tocchet's fired up. He's throwing players under the bus. As Noodles said, they're probably waking up this morning, on the pier or the promenade. And they're going to be fired up. Tocchet's going to have them well-drilled and fired up. But when you have a goalie like Shilov's playing like he is, it's going to be another fascinating contest tomorrow out in Vancouver.
Well, I found it interesting that he specifically mentioned a player like Ryan McLeod, who, has been the point of a lot of discussion in the Nasty Chat and the Paris Jewelers inbox. That name has come up a lot, and thank God he can skate, because if he was not as fast as a skater and as established of a skater as he is, he would be in the press box like now. So
he gives you something.
He needs to give more.
Yes.
Because that was a player that you saw during the regular season, and he said, okay, he is contributing. He is the prototypical bottom six player.
Complimentary.
Gritty, can come in and give you those 2 to 3 shifts a game where you see them and they cycle the puck in the offensive zone and make a difference. That has not happened yet in this series. So, it's interesting to see that that's getting noticed from head office, so to speak, in Toronto, that a player who you wouldn't think would be discussed as much as he is, but I guess that just shows you that's the top 6 is not the problem. We've never, that's never been a discussion really.
No.
But now if that bottom 6, which I will say last night's game was a move in the right direction for that group.
Fair enough.
There was hits. I saw hits, right? We saw hits, we saw shots. Okay, so that's a move in the right direction. Now to produce on the scoreboard is the next progression, and hopefully that can happen. But yeah, it was interesting to hear him mention Ryan McLeod in particular.
I think a lot of frustration too from Oilers fans is what could be with this team, and if Skinner would play to his, or if these complementary pieces could just be complementary. You're not asking for the world. You're not even asking the world from your goaltenders, I don't think, but you're just asking to go out there and not be such a story or not be such a negative viewpoint. Because if everything clicks with this team and this roster, I think on its best and good day, it's nearly unbeatable. On the bad days, though, it's almost the total opposite. Nasty chat's humming along. Just because it's a win doesn't mean we have to go with the same lineup. Zulu says 89 and 39 need to come in. Cheese Wizardry chimes in. Who is the press box? Who is in the press box? I would assume someone should be in for Ryan. A few shots at Ryan McLeod. McLeod needs to challenge some of his brothers. Oh, no, we don't need to be doing that. The fourth line almost looked better than the third line. I don't think we need to give these lines so much names in that regard. Whoever's playing best, I think that bottom 6, you just elevate and call them the third, or whoever you want to use more. So I mean, I think if this team is all going all the way they should be, the complementary pieces are being complementary, not being doing too much. If the goaltending is, again, not being stand out or lights out, but just doing what it's supposed to be doing, then that top 6 and your stars can just carry you. But when they're not clicking, you're just left a little hollow underneath. You've got that top heaviness. And again, it's just doing those jobs, being average, being a complementary piece.
Well, it could be worse. You could ask a guy that grew up in St. Albert if he knows where Morinville is.
Well,
it could be worse.
Maybe he was a very sheltered St. Albertson.
Back when he was growing up in St. Albert, Morinville would have been a little bit of a drive.
You didn't leave, maybe, eh?
It was probably a gravel road connecting the two. But now things have changed, obviously. So, you're not always on, guys. Okay, you're not always on. Just ask YTT.
What was that supposed to mean?
We'll go into the you have a Cool Bet hotline of the day for us real quickly.
I do.
We'll get into the Cool Bet Canada hotline of the day. You can check them out, Cool Bet online. Jason, where are we going for this? Where can we follow you to the bank this morning?
Well, as per my electric orange hoodie.
Tangerine, some would say. Hey, I kind of a...
From the WNBA. We are heading to the WNBA. So I put together a 2-team parlay here. I've got the Dallas Wings -8.5 and the Atlanta Dream -4.5. Both of those to cover is +240. Pretty good odds for such favorites. I mean, both of these, obviously both teams are favorited, but I think with the spread, especially that Atlanta game, it's been fluctuating between 4.5 and 5.5. Currently, it's at 5.5. If you can grab it at 4.5, do it. +240. That is my Cool Bet hotline.
And you usually bet in units of what, like 500s? Like you're not a mad.
Oh, nothing less than 1,000.
Yeah. He's a rich guy.
Pesos.
Do we also have time for? Yeah, we're a little up against the clock. We'll have a bit of maybe a farm report, a farm update.
Sure.
From your compound
acreage.
Rain.
Yeah.
Do you have a name though? Like, does it have an official name on the gate? You pull up to your place and it's like entering.
Milne and Daughters.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got the Old English.
No, I want that. It just says welcome. Welcome.
I'll take it.
I would like Milne and Daughters.
Yeah, you need to have incorporated, lettered, or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
LTD.
LTD, yeah, something like that. Hampton Steve, we'll get to a sports update here in a minute. Wanted to get this text. Now it's time to see what the Oilers are truly made of. They're back in the exact same situation as last year against Vegas. Time to see if they actually learned their lesson or if it's all been lip service this season. Look, we're pulling through this thing. We will see. I do like to think that this team is, another year experienced, another year wiser, another year older, another year, I want to say better. It's this is a man's game. These guys have grown together for some time, and I'm talking about the core. So you go through these bumps, you go through these learning experiences, and last year against Vegas was one of them. You would like to think that the children are learning or these men are learning, but we shall see. Certainly, it's going to be a tough test. Now that it's a best of 3, and Rick Tuckett's got his team at home. This is what we waited for. This is second round playoff hockey, baby, and the All-Canadiana series is certainly living up to it. But chime in, nasty chat as well. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. We'll be back with a little bit of free advice, courtesy Damon Bunting and Eric Macramalla to round out hour number 2 as well. That's all on the way. First, a sports update from Jason Milne. He's on.
The Boosh Bomb delivered as Evan Bouchard scored the game winner with only 39 seconds left in the third period, which secured the 3-2 victory for the Oilers. Calvin Pickard stopped 19 of 21 shots in the victory and should become the Oilers' starting goalie for the foreseeable future. Game 5 goes Thursday from Vancouver. In the Eastern Conference, Jeremy Swayman stopped 28 of 29 as the Bruins defeat the Panthers. Game 6 will go Friday from Boston. One game on tap tonight as the Stars host the Avalanche in Game 5. Dallas leads that series 3-1. NBA action saw the Knicks take the series 3-2 series lead as they edge out the Pacers 121-19. And in one of the best second-round matchups, the Nuggets take their third win in a row as they defeat the Timberwolves 112-97. And in the PWHL, Boston defeats Montreal 3-2 in overtime and secures a spot in the finals where they will face either Minnesota or Toronto. And in the World Hockey Championships, John Tavares scored in overtime and rescued Canada from a major upset against Austria. That being said, Team Canada still sits atop Group A with 3 overall wins. This sports update has been brought to you by the staff at Park Mazda and Mitch Lewicki. He can't make a good soup. He can't do a handstand in a pool. He can't even spell the word lieutenant, but he can damn well sell you a car.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
I got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysidle setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. As sure as new, G is slick and Kane is tough. We're going all the way this year, enough is enough. And we can play 'em straight or we can play 'em rough. I'm feeling fine when I walk the line. You know I shoot that puck so very, very hard. The name on the back of my jersey says Bouchard. And we're gunning for first place, not a wild card. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. Well, we're counting on our skill and not on luck. And it's gonna get real when they drop that puck. And we won't be done until we hoist the cup. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. I got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysdale setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line.
All right, 7:33. It's the Bouchard Walk the Line song. Dallas from Nelson, BC, the composer of that little ditty. As you are listening to the Nielson Show, Edmonton Sports Talk. 12 degrees, looking for a high of around 19 this afternoon. Chance of rain as well throughout the day in the forecast. Lieutenant Eric, Jason Milne, in for Dustin Nielsen. He's got the call last night. Warriors and Winterhawks. Moose Jaw with a big Game 3 win in overtime. They now lead that WHL Championship Series 3-0, and we'll look to wrap things up later tonight, out in Moose Jaw, Game 4 between the Winterhawks and Warriors. But myself, Jason Milne, and YouTube Trev, behind the monitors, keeping it locked down, playing all the songs for you, all the bits and bytes throughout the show. How are we feeling? What's the vibe check? What's the temperature level right now as the series will shift to Vancouver? Game 5 tomorrow night. Oilers and Canucks following Edmonton's 3-2 tightly contested win last night down at Ice District. It is time, though, for free advice. It's brought to you by our good pal Damon Bunting. And you can check him out today. Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. You can check him out, DamonBunting.com, or hit him up on Instagram. He's got a great Instagram account, Damon Bunting Real Estate. The guy's got the reels going and everything, but just a good. I called him a slumlord. It was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but the guy can deal anything. He can get you into a house, he can get you out of a house, whatever you need, DamonBunting.com. We got a few advice questions filtering in that Paris Jewelers inbox, Jason.
He's my realtor.
He is your realtor.
Yes.
He's helped you move into a house. He's helped you sell a house. He's helped you sell
up, down.
The whole bit.
He's the guy. And lots of giveaways. Follow his Instagram.
Yeah, right, eh?
He's always, and he works a lot. He collaborates with a lot of local businesses. People that may not, or businesses that may not get the shine that, the larger businesses do. He like for one example, he's always worked with Jacek Chocolates. Have you heard of Jacek?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they're out of Sherwood Park, a very fine chocolate.
Fine chocolate. Pinky up when you're
eating a Jacek chocolate. But do you know what Damon Bunting does? Every customer of his, if you've ever used his services, once, twice, no matter what, every Christmas he hand delivers a package of custom Damon Bunting Jacek chocolates. What realtors do that?
If you know, you know. That's an expensive gift. That's probably more. He spends more on that than I spend on family members.
It's a very, very nice thing. It always comes. It always excites my wife and my daughters. They know it's coming. They expect it, and they immediately go through the box. And there's some funky flavors in there. So
I assume he's a festive guy. He probably has his little Santa cap on when he does these deliveries, right? Like I mean, that's. I look. Chocolate's great, but screw the chocolate. A visit from Damon Bunting over the holidays is good enough. He could come to my door and shake my hand, right?
It's always good.
That's good. But
which leads us into the advice. Yes. And I know where Damon Bunting would stand on this one. Joel, we're going to talk about this. We're going to air.
All caps lock, hey?
Yeah. We're going all caps lock. We're going to air this grievance on air. Joel writes in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. If you've got some grievances to air or some advice that you'd like, chime in. Joelle says, my sister is a Toronto fan, but she's going for Vancouver in this series. Should I stop talking to her until the end of the series? Now, hang on. I want YTT's answer first, because there's only one answer. IMO.
I'd say you got to stop talking to her.
You shut that door. You turn that phone off.
Absolutely.
You block her.
When the Oilers were playing the Jets 2-3 years ago now, and they got swept, my dad's from Winnipeg. He grew up, he's just a diehard Jets fan. I didn't talk to my dad that whole series, and maybe 2 weeks after until I dialed down, because every game he'd actually really get me mad and just the stuff he'd say. And so I get you. It's very frustrating, especially someone near and dear to your heart. But if you're a diehard, you have to do it. It has to be done. Just tune them out for a little bit. But
it's only sports, right? Once it's over, then you get back to your...
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Lieutenant Eric?
Well, now I have to be the contrarian here, don't I? Talk to them or something like that.
You don't.
No, I mean, you don't. And it is just sports. So you kind of, and I think in terms of YTT's case, I mean, that's a proud papa right there saying, I've raised my, that's an indication of good parenting when your own offspring are not talking to you based on your partisan relationships with teams. I'm all for it. I think where this individual lives in Toronto and is a Vancouver fan, or they live here. I'm just saying if they live across the country, it'd be pretty easy. If they're living down the block from you in the same area code, then maybe it's a...
See, that's the thing about this. I don't know where the sister lives, but she's a Toronto fan for one.
Yeah.
And she's going for Vancouver? I mean, what are we doing here?
She's even a Toronto fan. I wouldn't talk to her.
She wants the cup in Canada, right?
That's two strikes right there. I mean, this is the end of it. I would actually take it one step further, and I would go down to the registry and ask for a name change. I would remove myself.
It's
completely.
a lot of work, but you would be in for it, eh? Like, yeah.
Speaking of the registry, my mother-in-law, who I mentioned, is staying with us right now. God bless her, love her. She came from BC. I mean that in full honesty. I really do, because sometimes that relationship can be strained.
It can be, right?
But not for us.
And all under one roof.
Yeah,
you've got the whole. This is like a sitcom here you've run.
It is. Yeah, it's like our own episode of Seinfeld. Every day it's just a different adventure. Anyways, so she went to the registry yesterday, and you know what it's like going to a registry. She just came from BC, so she's got to get her Alberta driver's license back.
Yeah, not a headache at all.
But she only had to go there and back twice.
Only
so
twice.
I think that's a victory.
Okay, waiting in line probably for half hour, 40 minutes or something.
The one I sent her to, it's a little bit of a out of the way one.
You have
I got a
registry,
place.
eh?
I got a place.
Not just down here by the massage place, eh?
And utter jerks every time you walk in there. What's up with registry? If you're in a registry and you're listening, is it just because you deal with so many idiots on a daily basis that maybe you're a tad touchy? Because I tell you, I mean, if you wanna have your day ruined, it can happen pretty quick at a registry.
Oh, it can, and I think
not necessarily because you don't have the information you need. It's just the attitude of some of the employees at these places.
The clientele maybe would have an effect on that. I would.
Yeah,
I would.
It's got to be a tough job.
Sickler says if she's really a Toronto fan, you don't cheer for another team. Just saying. Okay, well. Don't we all want the cup in Canada, right? Like, doesn't matter what color team you cheer for. Life is too short for sports beefs with family. That comes in from Chris Sadaway. It's all for fun, though, right? Sports is fun. You have the beef. Game's over. Series is over. You reconnect. You change your name back. You change your name for the series.
Only for the series.
Only for the series.
Just get a temporary.
Snip, snap.
Yeah, snip, snap. It's like a temporary driver's license. Just rip that thing up and go back to it.
We had another, somebody else was looking for some advice in here as well.
Joel, Chris Sadaway chimed in on the Paris Jewelers inbox and said, life is too short for sports beef with family.
It's okay.
I disagree wholeheartedly. No, he is right. He is right. There's more important things in life. Happiness, health. Health is wealth, baby. Isn't that a great saying?
Health, you can be really rich if you've got a good health, right? Like that can live you. Tommy Rubella here has some advice. For advice, I'm 2 weeks. I have my last day before I move back home, to which I think he means here from the States. I get along with everyone here still and was going to buy lunch for everyone on my last day. Here we go, boys. Should I get them barbecue pizza or other?
That's the options?
Thought for a guy from the southern states, I mean, the barbecue one hits. I mean, he's not just talking about,
I think
barbecue chicken breast here. He's talking actual
barbecue. That's a safe pick. Like I don't really know anyone. Like that's a solid pick, but I don't know. Maybe
I would have liked to see
how many guys are there? Like if you're just going with one flavor, I personally.
Can you chime in and give us some more details on this? Because in order to give proper advice, courtesy of Damon Bunting, we need to have other. I mean, what's the other? The other. I mean, there's tons of other options.
Homemade soup.
I love soup.
Bring in a big old vat of soup, and you just set it up on the table, and you dish them out. A gumbo, maybe, perhaps. Pizza just seems like an everyday player, though. I don't think for this type of event. Like, I know it's easy to bring for a group of people, y'all, but yeah, I can get pizza all the time.
It is good for larger groups,
yeah,
right? Because it does feed. It is tailored to filling many bellies.
Big Mama's Papa's Pizzeria. Maybe you place a call. Place an order, visit them online, get that big old sucker. They'll ship it down in a freight. Yeah, they'll have one of those, UPS plane or whatever it is, and they'll fly it down there, and you can unload it off on a pallet, and maybe you can serve a BMPP pizza for the people at work. But Tommy Rubella, I hope we've steered you in the right direction with your advice. Barbecue pizza, homemade soup. I think you're just such a nice guy that they'll like it either way. So. Cup in Canada, only one player on Van is Canadian. Dallas is a more Canadian team than Vancouver. That text flies in from a number that's never texted in before. I get that. We get that. But it's this, and I know it's not I got beef today, but I do got beef with that whole, bring the cup to Canada. Like, if the Canucks are the only team left in it, if the Flames were the only team left in it, if the Leafs, I don't care. Why do you want to
cheer for them? Is what you're saying?
No,
you wouldn't.
Why
care.
would you want them? You want to be the franchise getting that first cup back to Canada. I don't care that the Ottawa Senators are having a parade down whatever street, Government Street. Doesn't make a bit of difference to me. I get a little
salty.
Yeah.
He's a little salty about this.
The rosters are peppered with players from all over the Northern Hemisphere, but. No, I don't get that. You want to be the first franchise to bring that sucker back over the border, I think.
Ooh, Miranda in YYC, which I believe is Calgary. Miranda comes in hot into the PJ inbox. Hey, guys, that sister is a jerk. Why wouldn't she cheer for Edmonton instead of Vancouver? If not to annoy her sister. Real jerk move. I agree. Jerk move. So, Joelle, you have you've gotten permission here to change your last name or ask your sister to.
Then change it back. Snip, snap.
And then snip, snap. Change it back after the Oilers move on. And she did say they're only 5 minutes apart. So this is not a Toronto-based.
See, and that's rough because you're not avoiding this individual. I mean, even if you want to try. Trebor with a B chimes in the nasty chat. My dad is a Canuck fan back home in BC. We've been having fun giving him the business. I grew up out there, but was always an Oilers fan. Plastered my high school with Oilers logos in '92. Pour it on. Sounds like a fun little rivalry. Again, the dad out back home in BC. You've got a province. You're separated from a time zone away. So you can kind of exchange your barbs, but you're not seeing him. You're not I think it's worse when you have a family member in the room with you watching. Sometimes the heartstrings can get a little tugged. You loved your team. I don't want to see my dad cry. Or your like my mom's a Jays fan. She's a Jays rooter. She likes the Jays. She likes looking at their hairstyles and all this. She's not an analytic baseball aficionado by any stretch. But I have had the luxury of seeing the Mariners dump the Jays out of the postseason, and I get to go to my mom back home in Saskatoon and go, ha! See? Yeah, eat that. And I don't feel good about it.
It's tough, but somebody's got to do it.
But somebody's got to. My dad's not gonna, jaw jack my mom at home, so I got to, phone her up and say, "Ha ha, you suck." Then I slam the phone down. Then after that, she's my mom again, and then we all go.
Tommy came back into the PJ inbox. He says, "Just a blanket order, nothing specific. I can get burgers too."
Yeah, again, a factory. Like, are we talking like hundreds and hundreds, or is this like a small cubicled office?
I would say, I mean, this would be, and you know what? If there's somebody to ask about this kind of advice, I think it would be ES2 legal analyst Eric Macramalla.
Let's just take a swan dive into
Tommy Rubella, you're going to get the answer from the man, the myth, the legend himself.
That's why he's on retainer.
Yes, and that's not a cheap retainer.
Legal analyst Eric Macramalla. As Trev is going to get him, he's in the green room. We're going to make sure he's got the M&Ms and he's ready to go. We're going to fill his coffee mug up with whatever he wants. But Eric Macramalla, as always, our legal analyst, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, including Mitch Lewicki, where Mitch Lewicki always has a chair set up in the corner of his office dedicated for Eric Macramalla to watch him do his work throughout the day. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Kenny G. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
So I'm fine. So this week the hair is in a ponytail. Like, seriously, Oprah, pick a look and stick with it because you're okay the way you are. Okay, it's not your fault.
You ever hear the dress by mood? Hey, like Costanza, he needs to pack all the clothes because he dresses.
How
by
many
mood.
moods do you have?
A lot of moods, man. If I had a ring, it'd be a multicolored dream coat.
Is Dustin hiding under the desk? Is this where he is today?
Well, Dustin, myself, Lieutenant Eric, Jason Milne, alongside.
Hi,
Dustin Nielsen. Yeah.
Hi, Jason.
You guys can exchange here.
Eric, how are you? How are you?
I'm great. I didn't know Mitch's last name was Lewicki. When I hear Lewicki, I think of Kanicki from was it Kanicki from Greece? What was the guy? The one who was dating Sloppy Seconds?
Stanicki,
I don't remember.
the sausage maker.
Stanicki's.
Stanicki's. Yeah.
Big sausage maker out
here. Great sausage. Hey, were you up earlier this morning watching the Oilers Canucks, or were you? I mean, you guys have the puck drops are so generous for you guys out east to watch all of these superstars.
No, that's the part that sucks. And my two sons and I, 10 and 7, we've kind of lamented over this. Is that the matchups we want to watch are in your time zone, and so it's way past their bedtime. And for me, because I'm old and I have man boobs, I fall asleep without any warning whatsoever. So I'm watching your game and I fall asleep in the first period without even knowing I wake up at like 4 a.m. in my lazy boy, and wife screaming at me to come to bed and be with her and make love to her. And I'm like, I want to watch the end of the game, so I'll rewind it, right? But it does suck. The Oilers, that's the game that we all want to see, right? So I was hoping that the networks would apply pressure on the National Hockey League Association to maybe have an afternoon game, but I guess that's not the case.
Why not? Why not though? Like, who makes that? Like, it's the Americans, it's ESPN, TNT. Like, what's ultimately what comes down to that decision? Because you think if it's the Predators beating the Canucks, we'd at least get a 6 o'clocker or maybe a matinee down on the weekend or something such as that.
I think that's you kind of answer your own question. I think it's because it's two Canadian teams, so I'm not sure there's going to be the appeal south of the border to get those games on. If it's the Rangers against the Oilers in the Cup final, by way of example,
they'll all be 11 o'clock a.m. Yeah,
there aren't going to be any late games like that. So it's just too bad. We really want to watch it.
Well, meanwhile,
your team.
Well, and you reside out there with your Panthers jersey on, I'm sure. Bruins getting the big win last night as well. But is that who you're kind of riding with now, the Panthers, to knock off the Bruins? Panthers household?
Yeah, so obviously as a Habs fan, I have a great significant disdain for the Bruins. So whenever they lose, it feels like everything is really good with the world. When Marchand goes down and gets hurt, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Wake up the kids and we hug and we kiss. They go back to bed. So the Panthers are such a great team. I don't know how the Bruins are still in it because they get like 3 shots on net a game. But I'm hoping. Here's the thing. As a Habs fan, we riot all the time, right? Mainly because when the Canadians win a game, it's such a rare event that we'll go out and riot. So when the Panthers eventually beat the Bruins in this series, I'm going to go riot. I'm in Ottawa, so it's different. Everyone's asleep by 8:30. So I can't make a lot of noise when I'm rioting. So I'll definitely be as quiet as I possibly can. Oh, by the way, I finally got my car. How exciting after my car getting stolen last year in Montreal. It took almost a year, but I finally have my car.
I think
as I left the dealership, I told them, hey, guys, I'll see you soon. And then they said, why? I said, well, when this car gets stolen in the near future, I'll be back to get another one.
A new car to honk during your celebration down whatever main street in Ottawa, right? You can honk your horn. You can set up a bouncy castle. And nobody's going to touch you. Nobody's going to give you any
bouncy
grief,
castles.
Right? Eh?
I love the bouncy castle. I always put my business cards all over bouncy castles because it always happens. Someone breaks an arm. It's the bouncy castle. I'm sorry to those parents that says get a bouncy castle. I say to you, you're a bad parent.
The only thing more fun than bouncy castle could be a 3-on-3 hockey league, Eric. Right?
Wow, what a segue. Or that's a segue and a half.
That's a great segue.
Have you gotten your season ticket yet?
So maybe refresh. Can you do a refresh on this 3-on-3
So it's
league?
called, Steve Dangle, right? Steve Dangle had it on his, he had this
Great
big,
last name.
he had it on his podcast, and he broke the news, and he was all over this 3-on-3, Major League Hockey, Major Hockey League, MLH, MHL, whatever it is. Of course, you go on the Reddit forums, now everybody wondering where the money is coming from. Where's the money? Where's the money? I didn't really have in their sports conquest of the world the Saudis going, soccer, golf, and then ice hockey. But is that kind of where we are? Do you know anything more about this below the surface, or this is just a 3-on-3 fantasy league that may or may not happen in the not-so-distant future?
My introduction to the 3-on-3 league was your amazing, tremendous season segue. That's why I very surreptitiously asked you to do a refresh. So who's behind? You saying the Saudis are behind this, or are you just making that up?
I'm not making that up, but there are reports out there that's being happening, because it's this thing about this new league, 3-on-3. They're going to have like 14 roster players.
Yeah, 16 teams, 24-minute games, 3-on-3, a $30 million salary cap for each team, and there'd be a prize of $100,000 awarded to the winner of each game. So we're talking money here. Where the hell does this money come from?
We're connecting the dots.
Okay. Yeah, no, your average salary of $2.5 million. That's not bad. When would the season be held? Do we know? It would be in the off season, the NHL's off season?
I believe it's launching in the fall.
The fall, okay.
So it would be competing.
Yeah, the first thing is that even if it wasn't held during the NHL season, the NHL contracts preclude players from competing against the league. So they wouldn't be allowed to go play in those leagues.
Oh, yeah.
So that means you'd be attracting lesser players. So it would be players who are probably like in the AHL or playing in Europe that have limited earning potential and finite careers, of course, as do all athletes, and looking for a way to capitalize on that. 3-on-3 is a really exciting, but we know as sports fans, it's exciting when it's being played at the NHL level. And like any other attempt to spin off different leagues, they typically fail only because fans want to see the best. They want to see the best. Which reminds me, years ago, I got a call from the guy that started up the Lingerie Football League. And he said, "Hey, can you be my intellectual property lawyer?" And I said, well, I'm famous and I'm very, very expensive, and I don't think I could do it, but, what's your budget? He goes, "Oh, no. You would do the work for free because I'm giving you profile." I said, "Well, your league will shut down before it probably even starts, but thank you and goodbye." So that was my brush with the Lingerie Football League, was it the LFL?
I figured that was you on one of those side boardings. I saw a real good touchdown one season, and the face looked familiar. You did make it.
Yeah, he was so sleazy when I talked to him. He was just such a sleazy, gross person. So he reminded me of my family. So that's why we got along so well.
Eric, we just did a segment called Free Advice. And we need some free advice.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You wouldn't know anything about that.
Free advice.
Anyways, Tommy Rabella came in, and we need your help.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's 2 weeks away from his last day before he moves back home. He gets along with everybody at his office, and he felt compelled to buy lunch for everyone on the last day. He was wondering what he should get them. Now, he did add in that where he's living is not really flush with options, and he'll probably be too busy to cook something himself, so it needs to be something fast foodish. So he asked barbecue, pizza, maybe chicken. Knowing that information, what kind of advice can you pass along to dear Tommy Rabella?
So he's leaving, going back to live at home?
Back home to Edmonton. Looks like he was away for work.
Stateside. He's coming back to Canada.
What does he do?
No idea.
Who is he?
Tommy Rabella.
Is he a friend of the show?
Yes.
Is he famous like we are?
No. Maybe.
He's not as famous as, because we're in the business. We're very famous.
He is an avid listener and a
listener.
He's on the outskirts of the business. He's kind of like
a major contributor to the show.
and he wants to buy lunch for all those that he worked with before he goes back home.
Yes.
As a thank you.
Yes.
But there are no retail outlets close enough to him to then service all of them by way of fast food.
There are. He's wondering what fast food to service them with.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So I think if he truly loves them,
preach,
as I love you, Jay, and you, Jeb, low energy loser, Jeb Bush. I think what he needs to do is he needs to manifest that love as best he can. And I think the way that you do that is you don't go to one fast food joint. You got to get fast food because it's delicious and everybody wants. Right now, I want to have, a Wendy's burger. That's what I'm thinking about right now. It's early here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning in Ottawa, obviously, given the time change. What he has to do is go to all the fast food restaurants, assemble the favorite food from each, and then deliver them. So he goes to McDonald's, he gets the French fries. He goes to Wendy's, he gets the chili in quotes, obviously. Goes to Burger King, gets a Whopper. Maybe goes to A&W, gets the Mama Burger, right? See, when you want to show someone, tell them, express them, I love you, there has to be thought put behind it. And the thought needs to align with effort. If you got thought and effort, people will say, yes, you do love me. Now let's eat.
Valerie Nichushkin had the effort, but not so much the thought, I don't think. What happens to him now? Will we see him in the 3-on-3 league, Eric? Like entering the stage 3 now? Like is this it for Valerie Nichushkin now in the NHL?
No, I don't think it's it because so he enters stage 3 of the NHL. We'll call it the drug program. Yep. So that's a collectively bargained agreement, which means that you can't terminate that player's deal, that they have to submit to this mandated rehabilitation, and then he goes back into the league. So I don't know when his deal is done. Even if it's done at the end of this year, they could still, extend him or sign him on a new deal. But I suspect his deal goes beyond this year, but that's just my guess. If it does, and I think that's ultimately your question, if it's a multi-year deal and has 2 or 3 years left on his deal, the Avs can't terminate him. They're not allowed to because the collectively bargained agreement, which is an agreement between the owners and the players, provides that if you test positive for that kind of stuff, then you need to go into drug treatment, and there are 4 different stages under that collectively bargained agreement. So it's treatment, it's rehabilitation. That's the point of that agreement, and that's why you can't void a contract for that. The LA Kings did it with Mike Richards, but ultimately they ended up settling, and Mike got paid most of what he was owed on his deal. I think most people don't know that, but that's what happened.
This is why you're on the retainer, Eric, and we really appreciate it. Our time has ended, so we'll let you go now. You can get back to your wife.
It's my kid's artwork on this mug. My secretary made this for me, and she took photos of all the artwork in my office, not my home office, which is filled with pillows because my wife has an obsession with cushions and pillows, and then she made this mug for me. Isn't that nice?
That's really nice. We'll take this opportunity. Happy early Father's Day to you and yours then, Eric.
Nice. I'm going to Atlanta this coming weekend. And it's Atlanta. I'll be there for a few days. So someone said, "Hey, I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to firing back because when they try and shoot me, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to shoot back."
Hey,
Atlanta.
Tell me that is not the dumpiest airport in the United States. It's massive.
Is it? I've never been to Atlanta because I don't want to die. But when I go there, Jay, are you on Twitter /X? If you are, I will find you.
Yeah. And
I will give you my instant reaction to that airport, which is probably a dump.
You find me because you'll see. I gave it a review about 3 weeks ago. A personal, very, very bad review. It's a dump.
Do you review airports? Is this what you do?
I did. I reviewed 4 airports in 2 days. It is weird. Deal with it.
You did. What's your favorite airport?
Greensboro, North Carolina. It's beautiful.
No, nice.
Quaint, old school,
nice.
Clean.
I hate LAX. That's gross. Singapore was really
nice. LAX makes Atlanta look like, or Atlanta makes LAX look like the Taj Mahal. You tell me.
Really? It's that bad?
It's terrible.
Oh no, I don't want to go to Atlanta. I'm there for like 4 or 5 days. I'm missing all my baseball games and practices for the kids and work, and it's too much. But I have to go for work. But I'm not. Atlanta is not a destination that I really want to go to.
Just stay in the airport.
Maybe I'll go to a Thrashers. I'll go to a Thrashers game or something. Here they're in the playoffs. It should be fun.
Atlanta FC,
But
Atlanta
they have
United.
Coca-Cola.
Go to
They have Coca-Cola too. And
Sure.
although one of my clients, Porsche's there, so I'm gonna head down. They have like their offices and then a racetrack at the office.
Mitch's
So I'm
ears are
gonna head
burning.
down.
Mitch's ears are burning. You're gonna have a real jealous Lewicki here back home, but
Well,
that's
it's
okay.
a Mazda Porsche. It's a hybrid.
yeah, whatever.
It's different. Mitch can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. Okay, guys, I know it's
Hey, yeah.
8:02 where you are, and it's 3:00 in the morning
Mountain
here.
time,
So
yes.
I'll let you go. I love you guys so much. And if I'm not on next week, it's because I've been killed in Atlanta.
Noted.
We'll know. We'll take that review. Legal analyst Eric Macramalla, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. Check them out, parkmazda.ca, your dealer for life out in Sherwood Park. And we thank Eric Macramalla for his time. A little bit of legalese and a little bit of levity on the side as well. Fair to say? I think that's that's kind of the menu and what you expect from our well-esteemed legal analyst. We wish him well on his trip, and we can't wait. I can't wait. I'm glad that you and him are starting a bit of a Twitter friendship here with this. Airport reviews back and
A
forth.
little bit of an airport bromance.
Why not?
going
Hey,
on.
4 in 2 days. That's something. You run quite a.
It was
quite
a lot.
It was a lot. We'll be back here. You'll have a bit of a farm report. The latest going down from your acreage, your what do you call it? A compound, whatever it is. The Milne and Daughters.
Milne and Daughters.
Milne and Daughters. So we'll have a little word on that. Obviously, getting back to the game, Oilers Canucks. We're going to get back on track here. It's going to be a busy hour number 3. Kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many. If you want to play the kind of easy trivia, text in right now. Text YouTube Trev, I want to play. And he'll pick one of you. $20 on the line to Mr. Mike's for kind of easy trivia. Jason Milne's got the questions. 3 questions too many coming up after that. We'll have the weekly rankings of power as well from the one and only Jason Milne. We'll also have ESPN's Greg Wyshynski joining us, and we'll go down on some chicken cutlets from the Italian Center for That's Good. So it'll be a busy third hour. We'll break here. Jay's got a sports update for you, and we also got an announcement, a special announcement to make in the third hour. Woo! It's getting busy. Sports update, Jason Milne. Third hour of the show coming up. Nielson Show, Edmonton Sports Talk.
And just like that, a man of his word, Macramalla has followed me back so he can take in my airport reviews. Last night, the Boost Bomb delivered as Evan Bouchard scored the game winner with only 39 seconds left in the third period, which secured the 3-2 victory for the Edmonton Oilers. Calvin Pickard stopped 19 of 21 shots in the victory and should become the Oilers' starting goalie for the foreseeable future. Game 5 goes Thursday from Vancouver. In the Eastern Conference, Jeremy Swayman stopped 28 of 29 as the Bruins defeat the Panthers. Game 6 will go Friday from Boston. One game on tap for tonight as the Stars host the Avalanche in Game 5. Dallas leads that series 3-1. NBA action saw the Knicks take a 3-2 series lead as they edge out the Pacers 121-19. And in one of the best second-round matchups going, the Nuggets take their 3rd win in a row as they defeat the Timberwolves 112-97. In the PWHL, Boston defeated Montreal 3-2 in overtime and secured a spot in the finals where they will face either Minnesota or Toronto. In the World Hockey Championships, John Tavares scored in overtime and rescued Canada from a major upset against Austria. That being said, Canada still sits atop Group A with 3 overall wins. This sports update has been brought to you by Clayburn Services. Take your career to the next level with Clayburn Services. They are hiring all positions, including journeyman bricklayers and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind, knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Visit www.clayburnservices.com or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728.
Step closer to the hollow. The devil may care. If I showed you around my heart, would you mind if I shared to show you what's wrong with me? I will not change it. I will wait patiently. while you get painted out. Let me into your untainted tribe, to be the one who gets to live a lie. Oh, let me lie with you. I'll be a perfect stranger. I wanna be that stupid boy that you don't talk about. You better believe there's a sharp knife beside my bed. You better believe there's a sharp knife inside my head. And if you would leave, I would take you by the hand. You and I would leave, but it wouldn't be that bad.
8:07. Thank you very much to the Whale and the Wolf boys. They're doing their work in that old, a spacious room, Jay, as you found out. Like they got.
Yes.
I know. Everybody's like, oh, you got the boys. Boys are slammed in there. You're giving them a hard time. It's a paradise in there. It's better than the Atlanta airport, for crying out loud. You got chairs, couches. You can lounge out on, a coffee table, an armoire. I think is in there too. So
I'd say it's the hidden treasure of the office.
They're fine in there. They're all. You and I maybe we can go exploring in there and see.
Sure, it'd be like a river walk.
Yeah, it's like Fred Penner's place or something. Eh?
Yes. Crawl through a log and here you are.
Go through there. Boom, you're in the Russian spa downstairs. Hey.
Oh my God, we need to install a slide. A swirl slide that takes you right down into a spa. Or a
squeeze a little oil on that puppy.
What do they call it? A shvish? Svela? I don't know. There's some Russian name for Schwitz. I think that's not Russian, but well, we'll go with it.
8:08, as mentioned, it is the Nielsen Show. Lieutenant Eric, Jason Milne, YouTube Trev locking it down behind the monitors. Pretty nice day on tap. We're sitting at 12 degrees right now. Could get a chance of a shower throughout the morning as well. Risk of showers continues into the afternoon with a high of 16. So how you feeling today? What's the vibe check? 3-2 Oilers win. Series knotted at 2. Game 5 tomorrow, back out in Vancouver as it is now a best of 3. How you feeling? Where's this thing going? 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. And, of course, the nasty chat is humming and buzzing away. We are coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios. And once again, want to remind you from our good folks at Popeyes, the Crispy Chicken Buffalo Wrap. It is there. It is live. It is ready for you to go down and order. It consists of 2 classic hand-bettered and breaded mild chicken tenders, bold buffalo sauce paired with fresh lettuce, tomato, and milder spicy mayo wrapped in a soft flour tortilla. So check it out today, the Crispy Chicken Buffalo Wrap. Maybe get the wrap, deconstruct it, pour it over a poutine, and you're laughing. We're going to do some kind of easy trivia. As mentioned for the final hour, 3 questions too many, a weekly rankings of power from Jason Milne. That's good from the Italian Center, and we'll round things off with ESPN's Greg Wyshynski and a hot lap around the Stanley Cup playoffs. But we do have a contestant for kind of easy.
Yes, we do. At the old place, he went by John the Bread Guy, but he just goes by John now.
John the Bread Guy, the Bread Man, the Breadman. John, how you doing today?
Oh, not so bad. Yourself?
Can't complain, man. You made mention of the old place you played before. Then your record is dazzling. Are you undefeated?
Not kind of easy. The only thing I ever won there was the Wayne Brady ticket.
Cool, man. Well, that's something. A win is a win is a win, right? But we'll try to get you
exactly.
We'll try to get you a different win here. Kind of easy trivia. Once again, you are playing for Mr. Mike's. $20 to Mr. Mike's is on the line. You know how we do, Breadman. You need 3 out of 5. Jason's going to read the questions. The ticker will start after he reads the first. If you don't know an answer, you can pass. We're going to get you this W. Are you ready to go, Mr. Breadman?
Oh, yes. Let's go.
All right, Jason, take it away.
Did you or will you smash the like button on YouTube?
I haven't, but I will.
Who scored the game winner last night?
Bouchard.
Who scored the game winner for Team Canada in overtime yesterday?
Oh, that I don't know.
What jersey number is Calvin Pickard?
Uh-oh.
Is Jamie McLennan from St. Albert or Morinville?
St. Albert.
Ah, yes!
And he got it! That is why I did it! Another 5! Are you kidding me? That's right! Who do you think you are? I am! Get it right!
You can't have a newcomer come in
and steal a show.
That's a paddling.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Ooh, you better believe that's a paddling.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's a paddling.
The first year we took it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Away. John the Breadman getting it done. Again, we don't care how you do it as long as it's a W. And he got it this morning. A few knuckleballs there from our old Jason Milne. Hey, she's not saying.
If you've been listening to the show, not really, but
no, and that's just it. It's and you've been educating people in the sports updates all morning long, have you not?
I am, and I'm just infatuated and loving the nasty chat about the Scotford Colony out by Fort Saskatchewan. I'm a big fan of the Scotford Colony. I go to see Johnny there for my square bales.
Okay.
This is Hutterite Colony.
We are into the Farm Report now with Jason Milne,
Yes.
brought to you by Nobody Yet. But if you'd like to sponsor this delightfully odd-appearing segment, please email Matthew at edmontonsportstalk.com. But more on this, because somebody's... we're going to have a swap and shop here in the nasty chat, as it seems.
It is a lovely, lovely colony. It's just on the outside of, it's on the eastern edge of Fort Saskatchewan, kind of off the highway toward, turn north, you go to Josephburg, go west, you head to Fort Saskatchewan.
Lamont County?
Ish, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. It might still be part of Strathcona County. I'm not certain.
Thinking of you, Liquid Beaver.
The roads are paved. So, if you live in Strathcona County, every road is paved. True story. But Scotford Colony, yes, they are a massive colony. I noticed some people talking about it here that they get some of their produce, some of their chicken or turkey. Big Maple Sports Cards was in. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that go there, I guess. So that is and actually I have an update because I didn't get to it earlier, but there was a text earlier of a lawn question. About,
are you a Lonnie?
Huge. Did you follow me on Twitter? Look what I posted yesterday.
Okay, well,
me and Uke have a running battle.
You guys are in this thing. Okay, well, now that I know I have an expert in-house here and I don't have to keep going to Uke for all my
oh, no. You come to me.
Questions.
This was going to be for 3 questions too many, but since we're on the agricultural kick here, I'll just lean into
absolutely.
it a bit.
Yeah.
I just got a house with a large lawn. What tips do you guys have to be a lawn guy? Types of grass seed, fertilizer, and a must-have tool from Steven.
Okay, well, and again, this is part of the Farm Report now. We are not into. We will leave this out of the 3 questions too many.
Yes,
I've only been a homeowner for I'm approaching 2 years in the fall. I have one of those hound weed things you step on. It's got the claws, and it goes in, and you get that dandelion in, boom, out, boom, click, and then it's like a gun. It's like you're reloading a gun. I go,
yeah,
it's kind of cocks and reloads.
Yeah.
So I'm shooting these dandelions all over the lawn, and it's kind of like it's fun, and you're kind of aerating as you go. Right, you create a little bit of a hole in the ground separation.
Yes,
aeration. I leave all the dandelions like dead soldiers right on my lawn as a message to the others to say, hey, you want to grow somewhere, get the hell off my property. I put down a little nitrogen. Right, I bought a bag in the spring with one of those things with the wheels, and it spits it out. I did that. The weed man always
fertilizer
does that.
spreader.
Yeah. So I did that.
Yeah,
that's good. And I even had some barren spots, I guess you could say. I bought one of those, just a bottle of grass seed. I dumped that on quite liberally. I've been watering it, and hopefully some grass grows in there. So that's my lawn adventure. I've got 1 cutting under my belt this season.
Me too. I just did it yesterday.
Beauty.
Took the top off. Looks beautiful. Yeah. Follow me at Jason Milne to see said picture
exciting.
out my front window of the masterful work that happened yesterday. Stephen, I agree with Eric. Now, this depends on the size of your lawn. Once again, this is the Farm Report. The battle begins before the snow falls. Okay, let's be clear about that. Aeration.
Well, the war never ends.
The war never ends.
It's a continuous.
But it is preparation is part of the key here.
Money sucking.
A fall aeration is a very, very good idea because it allows the moisture to seep in and allows the roots of your grass to expand into those perforations that are made in your soil. I went with a urea fertilizer, which is straight nitrogen. 30-0-0.
Zach would be giggling if he was here, but he's not.
Yeah, it's the highest content you can get. Now, if this is a new grass, if this is a new home build, and maybe you put down sod or you seeded yourself
Some
in the
of that
last
nice
2 years,
Kentucky stuff,
you
yeah.
want to stay away from urea.
Oh.
You want to go with something that is maybe a 20-10-10 mixture instead of where urea is 40-0-0.
That's what I'm looking for, the high numbers.
Yeah, that's for established lawns, which I have because our house was built in '84. Yeah, okay. A must-have tool is your lawnmower of choice. I mean,
you
it
need
can
a
make or
lawnmower.
break it.
You need to cut it.
And it
You
depends
gotta-
once
yeah.
again on the size of your lawn. But if you have a push mower, that's great. I would recommend. And I would recommend this to anybody, not just you, Stephen. But like I said, this is the Farm Report. Duck Dad says this is presented to you by the Josephsburg Airport. Thank you for sponsoring Joburg.
Yeah.
Mulch your clippings. Don't bag your clippings. Mulch it and put them right back down.
Just sprinkle all that back on the lawn.
Well, a mulch, essentially, you can make your own mulcher at home with your push lawnmowers. Just cover the part that pushes the grass clippings out. Cover that.
Okay.
Now you've got a mulcher because it just whips, and turns it into smaller debris, and it stays on your grass. I'm a big proponent of mulching.
He's a mulching man. Mulching Milne.
Now,
Milne the mulcher.
big afternoon at the Milne compound at Milne and Daughters, actually, as we are going to turn that soil on our garden. It's going to be a big rototilling afternoon. Got my dad coming over with his tow-behind unit.
He's going to bring the ox.
He is bringing the... Well, no, we're using... my mother-in-law, actually, is going to pull it. No, I'm just kidding.
This is quite the scene out there. I hope I win my way in to see what you do out there one of these days. We should have a contest. Go out and experience the
I will...
the acres and acres.
Yeah, I will... I'll send a picture out today.
People are also giving you their relationships with various Hutterite colonies in and around town, so... look, you're kind of creating a bit of a community here. To hell with the glue guy.
Well, it is a
To hell with
community.
Glue Guy Nation. You're now, and people are actually saying a Scotford colony ain't crap compared to the Rochford colony. So
damn,
we have a challenge laid down. That's the Farm Report brought to you by nobody yet. Maybe the Scotford, maybe the Rochford, maybe the Josephsburg Airport. Who knows? But again, email Matthew at Edmonton Sports Talk, and he'll be glad. He'll love to see your inquiries on that. It's 3 questions too many time. It's brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, where they also like to trade with the Scotford colony. You can see them parkmazda.ca or visit them in the park, Sherwood Park. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. Jason, once again, if people want to follow you for lawn advice and airport advice, where can they find you on Twitter, Instagram, and wherever?
At Jason Milne, JASONMILNE. Yes, I know it dates me because I don't have 1982 or on some underscore. It is simply at Jason Milne.
You got there before all the other Jason Milnes, so that's now. I'll be giving you a follow today for the lawn stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like it's. I love my lawn. I take care of it. I love it. It's my baby.
And so 3 questions too many. We begin. And Trev, if you wanted to chime in with these, feel free, and you're more than welcome to as well. Oilers Canucks, best of 3. What happens in Game 5? Go. What are we tomorrow? What are we coming back on for Friday's show? What's the main storyline?
The main storyline is, and we talked about this on Monday. What the Oilers can control. They can control their effort. They control their desire. They can control their physical play. If the Oilers come out in the same tone that they came out in last night's game, I foresee good things happening, and possibly coming back here in Game 6 with a chance to.
Do you see a win?
I see a win.
Do you see a shutout?
I don't see a shutout.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think you have to give Vancouver credit. We are talking about the Pacific Conference winning team. They're no slouch. They're as deserving to be in these playoffs as any other team. This team, and every game has been tight. I don't see this, I really don't see a takeaway game here where one side or the other just steals a game and it's a shutout like we saw in Series 1. If the Oilers play with the enthusiasm and the physicality that they did at the start of last night's game, they win tomorrow night.
Trev?
Oh, okay. Well, this is interesting. Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you said there, Jay. It's going to be close. Like, this is now for the Vancouver Canucks 8 games in a row where it's been 1-goal games. So I imagine it's going to be tight. You hear what Noodles had to say. Rick Tocchet, he's got those guys going. He called them out, and you best believe that they're going to be giving their best effort. But the Oilers, like we had talked about from last year, kind of same position when they were against the Vegas Golden Knights, learning from your mistakes. And again, the Oilers, they fell to the Canucks. What did they do? They came back and they won. And then they fell again, and again, they come back and win. Yep. So they know they can beat them. If you play like how you do yesterday, there's a good chance. You have a really, really good chance. Although it's going to be tough. You're in Vancouver's barn now, and huge credit to the Canucks fans. They've absolutely brought it. So that's going to play a factor, I like to think. But I love the fact that Pickard was, pretty good. He was. They relied on him, and he made some pretty clutch saves. So I see this one being very close. I think whoever wins next game, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think whoever wins next game wins the series. I can't imagine any of these teams winning 2 games in a row. Like, I think it's going to be back and forth. I think that's we're kind of seeing a theme here. So whoever wins, that's what I'll finish on that. Whether it's the Oilers or Canucks, I think that's the series. I think the next game, it's going to be crazy.
But
and
both
if the Oilers
bullish on the Oilers, the both of you, hey? Like, you're leaning that way? I know it's back and forth.
Yeah, and like we talked about it, they've been able to win with the likes of, Perry not producing, Fogle not producing, McLeod, quite a few guys. And so if
one of those pop up.
If one of those, just for one day, I like their chances. I really, really do. Now that they can play a full 60 against this team. Solid effort yesterday. I like to think that's going to continue, but again, counter that the Canucks are going to be giving like that. They're going to bring it absolutely kind of like what we saw in Game 3. So it's going to be close. It's a toss up for me.
Question 2: International Day of Families. Jay, favorite member of your family is?
My wife.
Good answer. And I put you on the spot. It's one of those things where you could really kind of think about this one. Trev?
Favorite member of my family?
Boom.
Grandma.
Okay, I love it.
Good choice.
I wanted to hit you hard on this. I didn't want any thought or any type of emotional.
It's a good thing I didn't think about it because I would have screwed that up.
Well, that's boy, you stuck the landing on that one beautifully. I give you both a 9.7 out of 10 on that.
Any person with kids would know wholeheartedly that they love their children more than anybody else in the world. But I cannot pick one of them to love more than the other, so I went.
Well, you said it.
My wife.
And you wouldn't have those children.
If it wasn't for the wife.
Yes.
Yes.
Question number 3 to round out 3 questions too many. And in the spirit of Tommy Rubella trying to get some food for the co-workers that he'll be bidding adieu to, if the two of you were having your last day at Edmonton Sports Talk, God forbid, what would be the meal of choice that you'd be bringing in to feed the masses here at EST?
Go ahead, LT. LT. What did
A lot of letters. Oh man, there's so many. Just because
pick a sponsor.
There are some picky eaters in here.
Yeah.
Dusty. I probably I come from an Italian background, so I might have to chicken parm. I think I'd go with a nice chicken parm.
That sounds good.
How convenient.
Yeah.
You don't got anything else lined up in your working life, do you? Or later on today? We'll be having
I don't know,
chicken
maybe.
parm later.
It's a good one because I've been working with a lot of young men finishing up the store and taking down the warehouse, and you want to grab and go, but still be able to work, and it's never a bad choice. Can't go wrong with Popeyes.
Solid pick.
A little Louisiana chicken, maybe get some of that gravy. Their fries are phenomenal. Onion rings are underrated there,
and they're built for the big feast.
They are.
Like their roster is built for that big feast type.
Half
of
mild, half regular, and just knock your socks off because you can grab a piece of chicken and keep moving along. Dust your fingers off.
Lots of sides.
Sauces. Need the sauce.
Wheels chimes in. Atif, he's also sent me a little poem, which I hopefully remind me I won't play for Sound of the Day today. Unedited, unlistened to, so it's all Atif, uncut. Should I put a blade on the front of my wheelchair as I roll everywhere cutting grass? That comes in from Atif.
Yes.
I do it. I really don't care, man.
Is that even a question?
Put 2 blades. Put a bag on the back if you want. Mulch, no mulch. Atif, we're good with anything you do. You are.
Then you need to get a big LED spotlight above your head so you can do it at night too.
Yeah, and make pancakes while you're doing it, or something like that. You are the unofficial mascot, Atif. So you do you.
And I just want to apologize to Gord for talking about the lawn. Not a fan.
Yeah. Look, people get triggered for lots of things, and the lawn was certainly cutting Gord a little deep this morning. We got to move. Weekly Rankings of Power right now. It is brought to you, as course, as always, but actually a new sponsor for the Weekly Rankings of Power, and that is the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, and unmatched value. The Ranch Golf Club would be a great choice for your first round of the season, next round. So you can book tee times today, ranchgolf.com. Of course, you can listen to Murray McCourt. He is the club leader out there at the ranch. He'll be on every Sunday with the golf show here on Edmonton Sports Talk every Sunday morning. But we thank you. We thank the Ranch Golf and Country Club for bringing us another Weekly Rankings of Power. Jason Milne, where are we going today?
We are going, and I know we're up against the clock, so this is gonna come fast, hot, and heavy. Okay, we are gonna go with adult beverages best suited for a summer patio.
Adult. Where's Tommy the Wrench? Tommy the Wrench, are you in the nasty chat?
We're gonna kick it off. We're going to go 10 down to 1, okay? We're going to kick it off with a classic Caesar, okay? This could be vodka or gin-based. And to be honest with you, this is a personal favorite of a dear friend of the show, a person whose band was just nominated for a Western Canada Music Award, Whale and the Wolf's very own Lucas Holt.
Let's
go get it, buddy. Go get it.
That was awesome.
Trev loves the Caesars. My brother Lucas loves them in the short glass. You got to get a short. You don't need all that clam. You don't need 2 liters.
You don't need
of
too
Clamato.
much, but you need some Worcestershire sauce, some Tabasco, a Clamato, some celery salt. You know, a little trade secret, a little glue guy tip here. I like to throw in a little chunky horseradish into my Caesar from time to time to
I'll
get a
play with
little
that.
extra kick.
I'll play with that.
Number 10 is the Caesar. Number 9, we're just going to simplify things. Simplify. We're going to simplify with a white wine. Maybe a nice chilled glass of Sauvignon Blanc, maybe a Pinot Grigio. Classic, sweet, simple patio beverage. At number 8.
I ordered once. I was at a bar with my wife, and I go, "Yeah, I'll have a glass of that Pinot Gregory." I didn't even think like it was one of the. It was a face palm.
But was it good?
It tasted delicious.
It does.
Should be higher on the list.
It very well
Refreshing.
could be.
Yeah.
It is refreshing. It's classic.
Secret weapon.
Is it always something that you're going to go to, though, or is it more of a date night thing? That's the question. That's why I did rank it a little bit lower. We are at 10. We are at number 8. We are going with the classic Shandy, which is a cold beer with a lime slush mixture.
You used to have a few of those on Beer of the Weeks of years past as well. So
yeah, it is what it is. It's refreshing.
Something
it's
different.
It's quick. It's
Change of pace.
easy. The Shandy comes in at number 8. Number 7. And when I used to be the busboy at the Iron Horse, which is now MKT, this was my specialty, the Bellini. The Bellini is a Prosecco and peach slush drink, often topped with a splash of red wine to give it a little bit of color. You can mix it, you can not. You can, for the display, it looks nicer with the red wine sitting on top because it does float on top if it is a slushy mix.
YouTube Trev loves making those more than drinking them.
I was
Don't
going
you,
to say,
Trev, in
I've
your
told
bartending
LT
days?
that's my least
You
favorite
love it.
on Fishbowl Fridays. Yeah.
Number 6, we are bringing in a classic mojito, sometimes also referred to as a Cuban punch, made with white rum, sugar, lime juice, soda water, and mint. Very refreshing on a patio, of course. And keep in mind, the mojito, I like the tall, skinny glass.
That's
okay.
Yeah, presentation style.
Presentation
the whole bit. It almost
means a
adds to the
lot.
taste. Yeah, Cuban punch. I never knew that was another.
It's
also known as
just because of the rum contingent, Cuba,
I like
hand
that.
in hand. Number 5, we're ringing it in with the Long Island iced tea. Now, this can really set your afternoon off to a rapid start. Because for those not familiar, it includes vodka, rum, tequila, gin, triple sec.
I think that's
all
what
in one
Zach
glass.
Tigam and Gazzola were tying
Maybe
down
that's
there
why
on
they ended up
Saturday
at
night
the
there,
tiki bar.
at the Honey Honey.
You mix it with lemon juice, ice, and a splash of cola to really tie things on. Those are a personal favorite of the Glue Crew when we are on our annual ski trip out in Golden, courtesy of Cousin Brett. We are now on to number 4, where we go to the Moscow Mule. Now, what's a summer patio drink without that copper mug sitting on one of those tables? Cocktail made with vodka, ginger beer, and lime juice. Now that copper mug does act as a little bit of an insulator to keep that drink extra cool.
And who hasn't swiped one? Hey,
Who hasn't taken one of those
once in a
home?
while? Hey, we're all the same here, right?
YTT, why do you have 3 copper mugs in your closet?
They were stolen the most at
Oh, well,
my
Mom.
old job, yeah.
At number 3, we're just going to go with a classic margarita. It's a tequila-based drink, crisp, refreshing, served with a lime wedge, maybe a little sugar ring on top to complement the tequila-based acidity.
Margarita number 3.
Margarita number 3.
How?
Margarita number 3. Now, keep in mind, these are my rankings. You may disagree, agree.
Do you got that Jimmy Buffett machine at home? Do you
I'd like to see what Wyshynski says
bring
about
that
it all.
puppy out? The
You
Jimmy-
know, yeah, right. Those are awesome.
God, I love
The
it. My
Costco
buddy
Jimmy
got one
Buffett.
summer. It was blackout summer.
They're
Like
great.
this, yeah.
Number 2, we're going to go with the Bulldog. The fresh Coronita poured into a margarita. It's a margarita meets beer. If you're on a patio, maybe a
White
Ave, there is a certain place there that serves a great Bulldog. It goes so hand in hand with summer. And I'd be remiss if I didn't rank this as number 1.
The number 1 of the adult summer beverages.
An ice cold draft beer in a chilled glass. I mean, it's simple, but it is what you need. You finish that round of golf, you're getting back onto the patio to have a hole 19. You're going for a chilled glass with a fresh pint of 6 o'clocker lager right off the tap.
You're out there. It's 25. You're topless. You're mulching. What do you need? A beer.
An ice cold beer.
Maybe a 6 o'clocker lager.
An ice cold beer. That is your weekly rankings of power.
And
Brought to you.
And it's yours. Yes.
Brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
Plumber Topher says if number 1 is in Birdie Booze, you didn't understand the assignment. Jason Milne. It makes another list. Again, we're just getting started with the Birdie Booze and the season, so there'll be a lot of more stories written on Birdie Booze and the 6 o'clocker lager to come this summer, I'm sure. Let's get into ESPN's Greg Wyshynski. We'll have a sports update just coming up after our next guest, and we really appreciate his time. He's been waiting in the bullpen here for a couple minutes, but ESPN's Greg Wyshynski joins us, as always, for a hot lap around the NHL and specifically the Stanley Cup playoffs. Of course, fans here hot and horny in this market and in Vancouver and really in the country, Greg, of course, with these series going on that you people out east had to stay up earlier this morning to kind of catch the ending of, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we welcome your time, Greg. Just generally your thoughts on last night and the series as it has been heading into Game 5 with it knotted at 2 tomorrow.
I think generally, I feel like the margarita is probably number 3 on your list because you're a psycho putting sugar on the rim instead of salt.
Salt. I meant salt. Sorry. You're right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there are versions of the margarita and also like versions of martinis where sugar on the rim is completely applicable.
You know what, Greg? When it was coming off my lips, I knew something was wrong. I stumbled there, and I said, something's
you tasted
wrong.
sugar.
Yes.
And you're like, that's wrong.
Yes,
should
it is.
definitely be salt.
Greg Wyshynski for president, everybody. These rankings of power were brought to you with the aid of ESPN's own Greg Wyshynski.
And here I thought you guys did prime ministers. I'm gonna be president apparently of Canada.
It's all we all copy of it. The music, the movies, it's all there.
So please do not copy our democracy at this point. You guys are probably doing better than we are.
3 to 5 years behind. Yeah.
So here's the thing I found interesting about the win last night. I did not think that Knobloch sitting Skinner was completely because of how ineffective Skinner was. In fact, if you go back over his last 10 losses, he's 9-1 after losses. That's not to say that he plays great, but he does end up winning games. That goalie change was to say to his team, look, I'm going to stick a novice back there, and you guys have to man up and play better in front of this goalie because now there's no safety net. And you got to give the man his flowers because in the biggest coaching decision that Knobloch's made as an NHL coach, he puts in Pickard, and the Oilers end up having their best 5-on-5 game analytically, defensively of the playoffs. Even though Pickard is below average as far as goals saved above expected last night. So he wasn't a savior in net, but they played so much better in front of him. And then the other thing I'll say about last night is that the biggest criticism of the Oilers through the first 3 games was how their supporting cast was getting outplayed by that of Vancouver. And in particular, a guy like Evander Kane, for example. And Kane makes the critical play, I thought, on the game-winning goal. I mean, the shot's great and Leon's pass is great, but it's the forecheck that makes that thing happen. So it was good to see someone other than Connor and Leon do something of note in that game.
Greg, do you see the tweet that is YTT, can you bring this up for us?
Fascinating
here?
stuff.
Fascinating tweet from you last night. I just want to get a little backstory on this from you.
Yeah.
The Oilers were the Galactica getting demolished by the Cyclone base stars, and Bouchard's shot was the first missile from the Pegasus. Hashtag nerd alert. Can you?
So in the classic recent reboot of Battlestar Galactica, there's an episode where the Galactica, the titular Galactica, is getting destroyed by the Cylon fleet. The Cylons being, of course, cybernetic villains, and so out of nowhere, like we are, the camera is pulling away. We're seeing the Battlestar Galactica pummeled. We're like, is this the end of the Battlestar Galactica? And then out of the frame of the shot comes this missile. And here comes the Galactica's buddy, this other ship, the Pegasus, at the very last moment to save the day. And Bouchard's shot reminded me of that. Here's a shot out of nowhere and a moment of desperation, saving the Battlestar Galactica that is the Edmonton Oilers from utter destruction in a Game 4 collapse.
Wow.
What a picture painted.
What a sensational breakdown.
I still don't understand any, but it's just, I'm matching it up. I get where you take me here.
Now looking at the tweet, there is a story to be told by that tweet. So thank you for breaking it down. I know the listeners now have gained an appreciation for you, especially the Battlestar Galactica crowd.
Yeah, there's 3 people out there nodding along, being like, that man understands me implicitly.
Yeah. Dustin's kicking himself missing this one. I know he's a big sci-fi guy and all that. But do you also, and just one more on last night, the goaltending change, and you mentioned too, and I think a lot of people had that shared thought, is it's not all on Skinner, but it is a bit of a wake-up call to the defense. You mentioned the 5-on-5 too, which we haven't been talking too much about, but that came to shine last night as well. So a lot of good things, the separation of Draisaitl, McDavid, all that. But I do get a sense, the Canucks tie it late. We get the Battlestar Galactica scenario happening there. In a tight series such as this, where it's kind of back and forth, do you kind of get the sense, too, that this could have been a defining moment last night, not just in the series for the Oilers, but as you picked them to kind of go on, this could be one of those games you look back on, given the decision to kind of switch it up in goal, given the decision to split up Ceci and Nurse, albeit for a bit, all those things, and then not taking it overtime, going and getting the win after they come back. Do you kind of get a sense that emotion kind of shifts, and maybe this is the beginning of, or could be the beginning of something special here now for the Oilers to carry on through the remainder?
I mean, you'd hope so, but again, the 2 takeaways last night are without question that they played a style of defensive hockey and systems hockey at 5-on-5 that they're going to need to play because they simply don't have the goaltending to just kind of freelance and hang those guys out to dry. And then obviously the other thing too, like you said, I mean, we saw this from Vancouver in the previous round against Nashville, where they rallied in a game and tied it late. And then Nashville had absolutely no answer. And it was just an inevitability that they were going to win overtime. And you could almost feel like the same thing was happening again last night. And then the Oilers didn't allow it to happen. And to me, that's the biggest thing, right? It's just like, don't put yourself, it's a classic. If there's a lesson to be learned, honestly, it's like, don't put yourself in a position to lose. And going to overtime after that happening to you, put yourself in the position to lose.
Yep. And
they didn't allow it. And that's a really remarkable thing.
And it's not a sexy choice, but people did, we were taking canvassing on, what's going to be the Oilers. It's usually them. They're their own worst enemies. And that's ultimately what will either sink them or if they get beyond that, will lead them to success, I guess, in the end is them and themselves. Just want to touch on one other series, and that's happening out west. Stars, Avalanche tonight. You speak of inevitabilities. Is this much of the same? The Stars taking that 3-1 series lead back home, or do you kind of get a sense something for the Avalanche to prove? Of course, the Nichushkin news, that's a hit. The last game, they kind of get hit hard as well. Is this the beginning of the end here for the Avs, or do they still got something in the tank?
It's the beginning of the end. That it's hard to say that any team that has Nathan McKinnon is ever out of anything, like with the way that guy can take over things.
Yeah.
But, losing Nichushkin, who had 9 goals, and losing him in the manner in which they did, in which there's a certain sense of letdown and betrayal happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Georgiev has not been good in the last couple of games either. And all of this is happening at a time when Dallas is very much finding their stride and getting good performances out of Ottinger, getting good performances defensively overall, and then obviously getting, these star-making moments from guys like Wyatt Johnston in the series. So it's very much trending Dallas's way. And while you never can count out a team like Colorado based on just the desire to win that those guys exhibit, it's hard to imagine they're going to rally in the series.
Greg, and just before we let you go, let us know where listeners, viewers, again, can digest your work. I know we got a lot of new fans coming in for the playoff chase, a lot of Canucks fans mixing up in our YouTube chat. So what do you got coming next down the pipe at ESPN for all of our Oilers fans and Canucks fans alike?
Well, I mean, it's not for the series. The next thing I'm going to do, I think, is tomorrow kind of previewing the Rangers-Carolina Game 6, where all of a sudden the Rangers have, taken their foot off the gas a little bit and allowed the Hurricanes to get back in that series. But if you want to see more of our talk about this series, the Edmonton series, check out our podcast, The Drop. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, and you can search NHL on ESPN to find it.
Still hope for the Hurricanes then? Are you seeing this thing go the distance as well?
I think it's going 7, man. I think the Rangers really screwed up.
That third period, those Rangers
series.
fans heading into the third, it's all smiles, and then you get the side-by-side, and it's boom, bam, what happened?
The Carolina Hurricanes, since Rod Brind'Amour took over, are the best home team in the playoffs in that stretch. Like, it is a very hard place to win. And, after they lost Game 4, the Rangers, there was nothing in that game that gave you pause. But now after they lost Game 5, it's like, oh, wait, Freddie Anderson had a good game. Oh, wait, the Rangers haven't scored 3 consecutive games in the power play. Oh, wait, Carolina is now really widening the gap at 5-on-5. Like, there's a lot of trouble in this series for the Rangers. And, watch them close it out in 6, whatever. But, it's definitely a different vibe than that first loss in Game 4.
ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, we thank you for your time as always, my man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the postseason up till next week, and we'll talk then.
You got it. Thanks.
ESPN's Greg Wyshynski. We appreciate his time as always. He's picked the Oilers to win the Cup, so you heard it from him. He is on your side, Oilers fans. Not so much Canucks fans. And I know some of you are still bouncing around in the nasty chat. We welcome your appearance during the series. Once again, remember to hit the sub, hit the like. Why not? Do it for Greg. Do it for YouTube Trev, if anybody. He's killing it behind the monitors this morning. He's playing all the music and all the little bits and bytes that we need for this show to keep it running. It's 8:43. We're going to finish this thing. Still got a few things to do. Jay, if you could update people on sports first for Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria, because we need to get people updated. And then we'll get you to the bullpen.
Then I'll go to the bullpen. And then while I'm at the bullpen, that would be a great time. There's a lot of intrigue and interest about a certain poem or speech that was sent into you by a One Wheels
to discuss as well. It's
big
all
news.
Clicking.
Big
it's
news.
all clicking good. But a sports update. Go get me those cutlets, and we'll be laughing here.
Get me my cutlets. The Boosh Bomb delivers as Evan Bouchard scores the game winner with only 39 seconds left in the third period, which secured the 3-2 victory for the Oilers. Calvin Pickard stopped 19 of 21 shots in the victory and should become the Oilers' starting goalie for the foreseeable future. Game 5 goes Thursday from Vancouver. In the Eastern Conference, Jeremy Swayman stopped 28 of 29 as the Bruins defeat the Panthers. One game on tap for tonight as the Stars host the Avalanche in Game 5. Dallas leads that series 3-1. NBA action saw the Knicks take the 3-2 series lead as they edge out the Pacers 121-19. And in one of the best second-round matchups going, the Nuggets take their third win in a row as they defeat the Timberwolves 112-97. In the PWHL, Boston defeated Montreal 3-2 in overtime and secured a spot in the finals where they will face either Minnesota or Toronto. In the World Hockey Championship, John Tavares scored in overtime and rescued Canada from a major upset against Austria. That being said, Team Canada still sits atop Group A with 3 wins. This sports update has been brought to you by Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria. BMPP is a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery pizza chain, serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza is cooked to perfection. A pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them at 12848 97th Street or order today at www.bmpp.ca or call 587-746-0550.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
.46, it is the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and also on YouTube, the audio and visual component. If you are on YouTube this morning watching along, hit the sub, give us a like. If you're just listening, iHeart, TuneIn, or whatever, pop on over to the YouTube, give us a sub, give us a like. Doesn't cost you anything, and we'd really appreciate the help there. Jason Milne is off. He's going to go heat up some cutlet sandwiches, chicken cutlet sandwiches, courtesy of our friends at the Italian Center Shop for an that's good. And we tried these puppies out on Monday, myself, Jason, and Zacticum. YouTube Trev has yet to experience this, but it's a whole chicken breast, breaded and seasoned and baked to perfection, made just like Nona's. Serve with pasta and sauce for an easy chicken parmigiana, or throw it on a bun for an easy handheld lunch. I should really be reading these liners, to be honest with you. But you get what I'm putting down. It's delicious. It's chicken. It's a little bit of provolone cheese. You get the sauce. You get the bread. It's a delicious thing. And Jason Milne's going to whip us up a couple of right now. Maybe not the big sandwich, but maybe a slider. But you can get them today. It's a very easy thing. We had the meatball subs a couple weeks back. Low ingredient count. You're getting the meatballs, or the chicken in this case, the bread, the sauce, the cheese. Bam, you put it all together, and it's a beautiful thing. They got great ingredients there, great food. Check it out today, the Italian Center Shop. That's good. And aside from the Oilers just getting that win last night, a must-win in Game 4 on home ice, evening their series with the Canucks at 2, I'm just going to take it right now, and that's good. That's what's good. Evan Bouchard scoring that winner and sending this series back to Vancouver, knotted at 2. I'm sure YouTube Trev will agree that the chicken sandwiches here, they will be, that'll be his that's good as well, the chicken parm sandwiches. But I can't wait to see you try one, man. You're gonna pass out, then when you regain consciousness, you're gonna go back for another bite, pass out again, and it's gonna continue on.
I'm a big sauce guy. Can't wait for the sauce. The sauce is usually what does it for me.
You had those meatball ones, eh?
Yeah. And I drenched it in the sauce there, and it was absolutely amazing.
You get ready, man. You're in for one here. But we'll await on those sandwiches. We also got some news to pass along. I did promise. I cheated a bit. Atif sent me I don't know why I gave him my cell number in the past, but I did, and that's. Now I got to live with that, but I got to live with him sending me audio messages every weird morning, and he sent in something regarding the Oilers and the Canucks heading to Game 5. I did listen to a bit of it. I just want to make sure it was audible. Not so much I'm concerned about his content, but we'll be playing that. I do have, though, some news to pass off, and this is on the heels of our Edmonton Stingers news, as Edmonton Sports Talk will be carrying Stingers games this upcoming season. But I'd like to proudly announce today, and I can't believe I'm the one doing this, I'd like somebody else with more esteem and higher quality, maybe even a Matthew Iwanek, and he'll have more on this in the Hangout later on this morning, 9 to 11. But Edmonton Sports Talk, and I want to get this right, we are the radio home of your Edmonton Riverhawks baseball this season. That's right. I'm allowed to use the terminology radio home for the Edmonton Riverhawks. It's going to be great because we love getting down to the park. It's a beautiful thing. They kick ass in terms of game day presentation, promotion. They've released their schedule. Every game's got a theme night to it. They have a great time down there on the mic. Just from our point of view, the baseball is great, but the fun is awesome. So the home games, they write themselves. The season kicks off. The home opener is June 7th. It's a Friday night, to which the Riverhawks will be hosting Nanaimo. But the beauty of this partnership with them and carrying the games is you'll be able to listen to the Riverhawks on the road, which sometimes can be tough. We can all go down to Remax and love them. You'll be down there for a 3-game series, maybe a 6-game homestand, and then they go off for 9 straight games somewhere in BC, and you're like, what the hell? What's going on with the Riverhawks? We will keep you up to date. Edmonton Sports Talk has Riverhawks baseball all season long. We're your official radio home of the Riverhawks. You can catch them on the road. As I said, the home opener, June 7th. It's a Friday. The Riverhawks, though, begin the season Friday, May 31st in Bellingham. They will have a 3-game series in Bellingham. They'll then travel to Ridgefield, a 3-game series with Ridgefield. Have an off day and return home on that June 7th. That'll be their home opener. But once again, don't miss a minute of Riverhawks action this season on Edmonton Sports Talk. Ha! Ha! We are the home, we are the nest for the Edmonton Riverhawks. And once again, that season begins May 31 on the road in Bellingham. It's a 6-game road trip to start the season. We'll have you covered right here on EST. Jay, I think you knew about this. I'm not going to repeat everything I said, but yada, yada, yada. Riverhawks and Edmonton Sports Talk, it's a match made in heaven here.
It is. It is. I mean, like we said on Monday, if it says Edmonton Sports Talk's going to be a part of it. That is the difference. That is the EST difference.
That's good.
Did you try? You got the camera on you there?
I'm waiting for him to try.
Let's see it.
Okay, here.
So this is a chicken parm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Give me that bone. Give me that bone.
Wow.
You just have to take a minute. That's what you're going to have to do. That's what you're going to have to do with these. And you know what? I'm so glad that we actually have, while we're chowing down on these delicious chicken parms from the Italian Center shop, which you can get today, cheese, the chicken, the sauce, the bread, boom, you got it made just like this. Boys, tuck in. We'll play a little Latif here. This is Wheels, the man in the chair. Super fan. You know him from various promos on TV leading up to games. He's in there. He's in the chair. He's having a good time. But Latif sent me this. Sound of the day today.
Boys, great job out there tonight. We tied up the series 2-2. All right, so pack up your shit. We got an airplane to catch. Go to the West Coast, bring home a 3-2 series lead. Let's do it. Nuge, you in? Yep. McDavid, you in? Yep. Transpired, you in? Yep. All right. Calvin Picker, good job in that tonight. Are you in? Yes. But coach, we have to go to the A&W to get the whistle dog. Hang on. First Skinner, now you. What's up with this whistle dog? Well, EST Lieutenant Eric, Dusty Nielson, who's in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan right now. They might not have an A&W out there, but we got to get him one. We got to get Zach to get one. He has to realize Relish belongs on there on the whistle dog, and we have to get YouTube Trev Skinner's lost brother one. All right, okay, boys, let's go.
Discuss amongst yourselves.
We'll just leave it at
I'm at a loss for words here. They keep getting better, worse. He dropped your name, Trev.
Call me Stuart Skinner's lost brother.
We thank Atif for that material and letting us take a couple extra bites from these delicious chicken parm sandwiches, which you can get at the Italian Center shop today. Anything you're pulling out of that?
I think the worse they get, the better they are.
There's something like that.
Absolutely.
Hey? I don't know how much birdie booze Atif sucked back on that bun. The blue ring is ever visible around Atif's lips.
I just love the passion. You can hear it clearly in his voice. He's bringing it. That is hardcore dedication.
If there's one man that can laugh at himself, it is Atif, and we love him for that because he chimes in and he sends us all these things and gives us a real hardcore glimpse into his daily life, and we appreciate that. Strummy wants Riverhawks home run songs. There could be something along those lines. Atif ghost writes for Josh Clausen. Big Maple Sports Cards. That could be a possibility as well. Wheels, a beautiful man. I really appreciate that. Wherever you are, wherever you're waking up this morning, thank you for that.
And
time.
Smash the like button for Atif.
Do it for Atif.
Do it for Atif.
Like for Atif. Why not? I missed the old button. Zach's walking into the building now. Hangout's coming up in about 6 minutes. We're running off the string here. But Oilers and Canucks, once again, they'll have more on that coming up in the Hangout. I'm sure glossing over that game. Edmonton winning 3-2. Game 5 tomorrow night out in Vancouver. Series tied at 2. Dustin Nielson, meanwhile, as Atif mentioned in his little ditty, whatever you want to call it there. Game 4 tonight down at the Hangar in Moose Jaw. Warriors winning an important Game 3 last night in overtime to take a 3-0 stranglehold. Portland's got a great goaltender, but you do think that, with a plane trip all the way back to Portland, Oregon looming, these guys might be head on the golf course, half brain on the golf course already type of thing. Nobody wants to lose. But at the same point, and from the Moose Jaw Warriors' point of view, you'd want to put this one away in front of your home fans who are just, coming out in droves. It's a beautiful story down there. Dusty got a nice overtime call as well to add to his.
To see the series go this rapidly, to be up 3-0, given what both semifinals produced, is quite amazing. I can guarantee you that one Dustin Nielson sure wishes this finishes up. He misses his family. He misses his kids. Get him home. So, yes, as soon as that series is done, the big man gets his big butt back in this chair.
The QMJHL also went 4-game sweep, and I do believe in Ontario as well. London's up big time, so we could be getting to an early Memorial Cup, I guess, depending on this series out west and the other ones, but we'll be keeping an eye on that tonight as we have a modified wrap for William Huff. If you want your place to look is good and just like ours, check them out today. William Huff. You've been down there personally, hey, to that building?
Yes.
And how it's wrapped up. You can't find the door.
It's Charlie's Chocolate Factory.
It's a neat little thing they got going on there. But check them out today. If you want your place to look like ours, WilliamHuff.com, in business since 1972. So you know that they are incredible at what they do. You got this. This is from them as well. They got the banners, the stickers, the decals, everything you want and need to head into the Western Conference Final as an Oilers fan. I don't know if I'm speaking too soon, but it really doesn't matter. Visit them today. Check them out online, WilliamHuff.com. I learned on the show today that you're a grass expert, and I didn't say that you didn't know anything about grass, but I never knew you were kind of that level above. So now I said I will follow you. I don't need to ask Yukon Jack my opinions on my lawn anymore, and it's good to have an expert in-house.
We call ourselves Lawnies.
Lawnies, that's what it is, hey?
Yeah.
You'll tell me to mow when it's about to rain or something like that?
Well, you know what? It was a different approach this year. Usually I like to take the top off as soon as that snow's gone and really dust that grass right down. But I let it grow this year, partially because my lawnmower was in service, so I couldn't mow it.
You can only do what you can do,
But letting it grow longer has certainly paid early dividends, I will say that.
YouTube Trev, you pulling anything from today's show in terms of learning?
Darn it. I guess no. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, but I already knew that it was going to be super good.
You need that taste proof.
But yeah. Okay, that's fair.
It's over the line for you, and I love it.
I also learned that Hutterite colonies are back. They're back in a big way.
They hate each other.
They never left.
The Scotford v. the Rochefort.
It is a battle that stands the test of time. Then you get out to the Holden colony. Oh boy,
is that a different kettle of fish?
That is different. Yeah, I mean they all have their specialties, and no two are the same.
I would also like to take this time, and again, Edmonton Riverhawks. We got the games on. That was announced. The Whale and the Wolf Boys. We announced them. Our in-house band. They've been nominated for a Western Canadian Music Award. And I'd like to let you have this opportunity as well right now. Do you have a text of the day as well? $20 to A&W. Did we kind of see somebody pop up in there? Maybe given the Hutterite feuding and your lawn, the mulching? Maybe
you know what?
Something from there?
I'll find it here quickly.
Well, right now, while you're going through the Paris Jewelers inbox, text in comedy right now, and we'll pick a lucky person. We got a VIP table for 4 Friday, July 12th. Shane Gillis, Andrew Scholes, and Mark Gagnon. It is the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. So text in comedy right now, and we'll take a lucky qualifier.
Belsy in the house.
That one. Belsy's in the house, getting ready for the hang. I love it. Love to see that. He's going to be fired up after last night's game as well. I'm sure of it.
My text of the day comes in about the lawn report, the farm report. It says, nobody cares, seriously.
Yeah, we'll spruce him back
That's
up.
from,
I love you going to a negative text to get text of the day.
You've won text of the day. Congrats.
Yeah, on your negativity. And, I know you want more of the farm report, and summer's on the way. There's the music. Keep it going. Shake up your coffee with A&W's new ice cold brew and iced latte. A nice little pick me up year round. When it's 20 degrees, they're perfect to take to go on a sunny walk in the park. Try the new iced cold brew and iced latte for yourself at participating A&W brew bar locations. So $20 to A&W going out to Mr. Anonymous there with the seriously.
That was at 8:17, just so you can notify Mr. Anonymous that nobody cares seriously. But guess what? You should care seriously because that won you the text of the day.
He cared to pick up the phone and text, so
he did.
Here we are.
So we care about you. Hey, good or bad, bring him in, baby. We can handle it. We've got broad shoulders.
Yeah, no, I'm not blocking anybody and reading. I'm reading everything as it goes. I just want to say thank you as well to YouTube Trev this morning. He's behind the monitors, does all the work for the show, makes us look great. So thank you to him. As of course, Dustin Nielson away calling the WHL championship. We're all kind of picking up pieces around here, and that's just fine, having a good time. So I'd like to also thank you, Jason Milne. Milne, for coming in this morning all the way out from the colony. What is it? Milne and
Daughters,
Milne
we'll
and
call
Daughters.
it,
I
yeah.
like that. And you got to get the nice gate.
And Fergie's prostate came in with a great point. He's going to be with Tommy the Wrench today at St. Albert BP's at noon today.
That's right. Him and Gager will be on location there.
On location.
Yeah. So Hangout coming up next. I'm sure Matt will have more information on that. He's got Belsey in tow as well. So should be great for YouTube Trev. Jason Milne, I'm Lieutenant Eric. Dustin Nielsen has the call tonight. Warriors are winning Hawks. Game 4 could be the decider across the TSN network. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take in this win. We're back tomorrow morning. Have a good afternoon. I love you.